NaruTalk, the Naruto ShipPodcast, is made possible through contributions from listeners like you. To help support the podcast and to earn exclusive rewards, head to www.patreon.com/NaruTalkPod. That's www.patreon.com/NaruTalkPod. Believe it!
Hey everyone, this is Naruto Uzumaki, and you're listening to NaruTalk. Believe it!
Hello everybody, welcome back to NaruTalk. Did you want me to wait for you to get high before we started recording?
No, look, I didn't know if it would make a noise or not.
Okay,
so
okay.
I just said, you know what?
Yeah.
We're still gonna hear
Ari's lives like right across the hall.
We just have to declare it quietly.
Last time it was me, now it's you.
Yeah.
Look,
Morgan started
yeah.
vaping essential oils
Just
on the last
I did
episode.
hear about that. I was aware.
I don't know. I feel like.
Are you hitting Vibrant or Sleepy at the moment?
Vibrant.
There's something
cool.
wrong
Sleepy's
with
great.
it. Like there's something fundamentally wrong with it.
I feel like fundamentally, I don't know what the difference between smoking essential oils and smoking weed are, you know? Like, the way I said it to Morgan is that weed's essential to me, so, like, it's the same.
It's not podcast canon.
Mm-hmm.
Last podcast knew I didn't smoke.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right, yeah, Morgan smoked weed.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That sucked.
Got a nasty head rush.
It was the worst head rush
I'm
ever.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, it was awful.
Yeah.
And of course, I was with exclusively high people, so
Mhm.
I was like, guys.
Freaking out. You
Yeah,
didn't know what to do and
Liam
no,
was
and like
being
everyone
Liam.
was like, "Yay,
It
fine."
was like, I don't know. I think it just. What is
No,
a head rush?
but no, because like I tweak every time I get high.
You do.
So Morgan was like, everything's shaking, and I'm like, yeah, the universe is shaking all the time.
See, I've seen Liam at parties, but I've never seen him get like white boy wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that's all you.
White boy wasted is my default mostly. Yeah.
Like a
Um,
foreigner.
The fact
far
that
too
you
many
told
substances.
me
Yeah.
what was it? You were drunk and trying to like kill a spider in your room.
Oh yeah,
Like,
the giant
kill
spider.
you.
It's an old tale.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, welcome to NaruTalk, the greatest podcast ever to be all about Naruto. I'm your host, Liam English, and with me, as always, is Katie Sederi,
Hi.
Morgan Williamson,
Hello.
Raj,
Hi.
and today, for the first time ever on the main feed, we have a fifth person joining us. We are joined by Lizard.
Hello.
You want to do like a what's your spiel? What's your
What's
deal?
my spiel? I don't know. What am I?
I don't know.
Okay. Fun icebreakers. So.
Lizard. I'm just a short king looking for a pretty girl to torture my cock and balls.
Mhm.
Best bio.
I think
Aren't we all?
that's the
That's
only
my
thing you
favorite
can
bio.
say about me.
All right. But before we start, I guess I should be like, have you ever seen an anime before?
Yes, I have actually. Over winter break, my girlfriend got me into this anime called Food Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That
Fuck yeah.
is
Food Wars
actually
is valid.
really fucking good. I was not expecting it to be that good. It's really funny. It's super ridiculous. They also like, it's basically about these teenagers that go to like some competitive cooking high school. Even though like the girls are like 14, they have gigantic titties and like
Yeah.
hips and everything.
Yeah, but the kids in Naruto, like you've seen those two
Yeah,
episodes
they
now.
actually
They
look
kind of look like kids, right? Yeah.
which is nice.
It's pretty.
There's this dude in my fucking child development class.
Uh-huh.
He looks like how high schoolers used to be portrayed in like movies when they're like 20.
Yeah, like a-
and they're like hot.
They're-
And
yeah,
like,
like-
they're hot in like a
Yo.
like a
But it's this
stock
dude who's
image
like
way.
fully Vin Diesel with like just like a graphic tee and like a pants that just don't
Wait,
fit
is
him.
this the
Oh,
bald
yeah.
kid?
Maybe.
And he's got a backwards baseball cap and a skateboard.
People, what's up, my fellow?
Yeah.
Oh, kids.
Steve Buscemi is honestly one of the best people. Young Steve Buscemi is very hot.
This is
Honestly,
true.
yeah.
There was
Really?
a moment
Yeah.
in time where he and Angelina Jolie like had the same face. I think it was in like 1995.
That does sound kind of
That's
hot.
pretty
I
hot.
didn't know
Yeah.
where you were going with that, but I'm happy that is where it went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool that you've seen Food Wars.
Yeah, my first exposure to anime was my freshman year of college.
Mhm.
Two of my best friends,
As it is for
Cam
many.
and Hunter, lived in the same suite. And, like, Hunter loved anime, and he had no shame about it. Like, one time we were in Terave,
Uh-huh.
and he was reading,
Tereve's a food place at our campus, for those.
he was reading fucking, what's the thing, the books?
Yeah, manga.
But he was, like, holding it so delicately, like it was, like,
Well, you have to,
like,
it's
he
the
was-
Bible.
I did read like
Like,
that.
he
I
was,
remember that.
what's his fucking face from National Treasure, and it was the
Nick Cage.
Declaration. It was Nick Cage,
Holding the
and it was the Declaration of Independence, and I was like,
That's how fragile. I mean,
But-
dude, he used to read it in a very dramatic way when he would like be sitting outside in the sun,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like crossed over the other.
Well, bro,
roof
you have to like get
in.
the
I
spirit of the
absolutely
anime.
have to respect the grind.
Yeah,
Like, I love
There's
that
a
boy
lot of,
so
like,
much.
stuff.
He's still like a very dear person in my heart.
Mhm.
But like, I'm like, you did that, and
Yeah.
I
You did do
suppose like I have to respect
What
it.
better way to
Like, balls fucking out, you
Yeah.
know.
Balls.
which is the way to read
But
manga.
As you should.
anyway, so I walk into their suite, as I so often would, uninvited, and he's just like watching some anime, but it's one of like the dramatic ones where there's like tentacles and like titties.
So
and
that
stuff.
would have been hentai.
It was not actually hentai though, apparently.
Straight up.
Uh-huh.
So that wondery response that taught us about ecchi, it would be that.
Yeah.
It's like softcore hentai.
Yeah. Which is to say
yeah,
Naruto
Food Wars
ShipPodcast.
has like hentai
Pretty
too,
much.
because like, so it's like a competitive cooking school, and like every time they eat something and it's really good, they'll like
Oh, I heard about that
monologue
show.
about how good it is while having orgasms.
Best
And
part.
like these girls will be like screaming and then like talking about like the flavor and like the delicacy
Yeah.
of the cuisine and using a bunch of words I don't
The
understand.
closest that Naruto's ever gotten to that is that, you know those like magic powers they use, the jutsu or
Yes.
whatever? There is one part where one of the characters just does like the sign and then jams their fingers up Naruto's butthole.
Isn't Naruto like a child?
Yeah.
So it's like
So
a
that's,
little weird.
That is not something I'm super into, I'll be
No,
honest.
us neither. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's kinda
I
something.
will
based
also
upon
bring up
us.
the
Yeah.
fact, you know, that like again, returning to Food Wars, these characters are in high school and then they're like,
Well,
we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
even on
Naruto
screen.
just graduated.
Yeah.
He was a super senior.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
wasn't yet for like middle school.
Yeah, so it's like this is like the ninja equivalent of high school where they're at.
Oh, and when I was a kid, my little brother used to watch like all the Dragon Ball Z shows. So I'm pretty sure I caught a couple of videos.
Oh, yeah.
Episodes of that.
It's similar. Naruto's like hella inspired by Dragon Ball.
It's
Cool.
in the same Venn diagram as people who go to the gym and like anime fans. It's
Yeah.
a circle. Right
Yeah.
there. It's Dragon Ball Z.
All the
One
gym
Piece,
boys are like,
Naruto.
yeah, Dragon Ball, Naruto, let's
Oh
lift.
my
They
god.
all have tattoos.
What?
Am I one of the gym boys?
Yeah, you are
I
now.
have tattoos. I'm all about Naruto. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, you're a
I don't
dude
wanna
bro
be
now.
one. No.
Join the
That's
frat
so
on
funny.
campus.
Oh my gosh.
So here's like a world. Speaking of like gym shit, it's Super Bowl Monday, so who cares, right? Does anyone know who's
I
playing
don't know
or?
if we could say
Chiefs
that
and somebody
we, like,
else.
Not the
Alright.
Patriots.
I don't know if we could say we don't care.
That's
I
all
feel
I
like
know.
because we have all these fans in like Midwestern America.
Yeah.
You know, like this.
God damn it, they don't like
the
football.
Super Bowl was like interesting in concept, you know? It's like it's cool that people will like get so horny for one thing.
No, I definitely.
Yo.
If you like strip down all like the things that make football. So if you told me two teams
Yeah.
with just one ball just charged at each other and then tackled each other violently.
So it's like they're all torturing
It's
the
so
ball
gay.
at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Exactly.
No, I like football is like it's like as homoerotic as anime. And
Do you
that's
remember like
dope.
the origins of like I could be totally talking about like my ass here, but like for like basketball, how it was from like the Roman like Olympics and shit, where like
Yeah.
the hoop was on the side
Yeah.
and
Everyone was naked.
Well, to be fair, everyone was naked.
Yeah, man.
And instead of moving around the field on the ground, you'd be pulled by lions in a chariot, and you
Yeah.
have to throw the ball.
That can't be right.
It's like a rock into the.
You know
the
what
hoop.
is also a really fun sport to watch? Hockey. But you have to pretend they're fighting over the world's last Oreo.
That's good.
That's
That's-
funny. But hockey's violent as fuck too.
Yeah.
Like it's
I feel
badass.
like that hole in the, like behind your head right there.
Yeah,
the wall,
there's a
that's
hole in the
definitely
wall
like
where
a
we're
hockey
recording.
punch.
Yeah.
Like
They were
something
playing
else
hockey in
like-
here.
I just don't get like you see holes around the building and you're just like,
There's so many.
what?
of them.
What's
There
the
is so
fucking
many.
story? Because that one I get. Look, somebody probably. Not like one too many monster and she drank
Yeah, yeah.
Scala 2 anchor at their mom, right?
It's
But
the podcast that records after us in here. It's a punch wall podcast. They punch the wall, then review it for 2
They
hours.
watch One Punch Man.
Yes. Ah, good anime.
Oh.
they test his
I
skills.
didn't know. I mean, you're all weebs, so I'm gonna assume you guys all game too.
Morgan is so anti-game. It's
I'm not-
crazy.
That's unfortunate.
One time you gave a speech on air
You
that
ever
was
played
like,
Stardew Valley?
Yes.
It's the best fucking
It's
I
game.
don't
the
game.
No,
best
let's not
game.
anti-game. Play Stardew Valley. It is
Okay.
like everyone loves Stardew Valley. It's fucking adorable. You get to start a farm and like it's just cute and it's so easy to make money and like you go mining and fight like these cute little monsters and you kind of feel bad about it because they're so fucking cute and you can like get married
No,
in it.
fuck those
Hell yeah.
crab rock people.
I
They
know,
just like
they're obnoxious.
there was a guy in our Discord who was like trying to find Switch games, and Stardew Valley's on the Switch. So yeah, that's like
I own that game on I think 4 platforms.
Yeah.
And I say 4 including the Vita. You know, so that's
if you bought it on
No,
Vita,
guys,
you know
guys,
it's
look
good.
at the window. Look at the fucking window. Look
Holy
at that
shit!
car.
There's a car passing by that has just
Whoa.
bright purple tires. It's pretty cool.
They're glowing.
exhibit and
Yeah.
pin my ride. That
Very
is
badass.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
so excited by shit like
Wow.
that.
So Morgan, what's the podcast about for Lizard,
Well,
our dear
listeners,
guest?
the podcast is a fun little time where every week we watch 2 to 4 episodes of Naruto.
Mhm.
Canon only, no filler, obviously, because why
Of
the fuck
course,
would you
of
watch
course.
filler? Except we kind of did.
Once, yeah.
And this, us being the 4 of us, usually, with a fun guest today,
Yes.
2 of us being regular watchers,
Sure.
long-time watchers, long-time fans, and 2 of us being newbies, except we're not that new anymore.
Not anymore. Now you're the newbie.
Yeah.
Now you're the newbie.
I have never kept up with Naruto in my life. Like, I
am
these are the only 2 episodes I've seen of it, and I was so confused.
immensely. Yeah.
Not
So
my fault.
no, not at
I
all.
that a week ago. I was like, let me on your podcast that I know
Well,
nothing
this is
about the
like
subject matter
The
of.
experiment. Yeah, Lizard's never seen Naruto, and this week we're talking about 72 and 73.
These are such weird episodes to just throw
It's
them in at.
I was
like,
confused,
have,
and
like,
I've been doing this for a while, so...
Yeah. I didn't write. Usually, after I say what episodes we watched, I give a brief description, but it just says brief description in here. I didn't fill that out.
Sounds about right.
Something. They don't know. They just talk and nothing really happens. So, speaking of talking and nothing really happening, let's NaruTalk about it.
Where did Queen Rat Raj and your counterpart King Rat
For-
King come
For
from?
those that are wondering, that's Raj's Twitter.
That was my Twitter up
Oh.
until recently.
Yeah.
Basically,
I didn't know that.
over break, I befriended this wonderful person named Ava, who we're very much the same person, and we both like to smoke weed a lot. So we became really close friends, and they kept me sane all break. And then eventually, we started like bonding over really cute rats. And then I was really into the idea of wanting to wear a dress, and Ava's someone who is really into like a more masculine dressing identity and stuff like that. So I was just stumbling through Twitter, and I see those 2 pictures of the rat in the dress and the rat wearing overalls.
And you're like, will you be my king to my rat queen?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, you know that meme where it's Mario and he's holding a crown and it's like, you dropped this king?
Yeah,
That's basically what you said
The
to
caption
this person.
was
But with a
him
little
and her,
picture of a rat.
and I sent it to Ava, and I was like, Ava, look, we need to take the next level to our friendship here. Will you be my king to my queen? And then we made these royal rat decrees. So Ava and me at this point really are like main goal we really want to be Twitter famous.
Don't we all?
Oh,
Don't
God,
we?
so bad.
So I've been trying
wanna be Instagram
so
famous.
fucking hard, right?
I want to be TikTok famous.
Like
Fuck
TikTok
you.
famous is definitely the wave, but I just think I'm too like unfunny for it.
Bro, me too. Like, I just don't get it.
I just don't get it.
Fucking one of my friends from back home, their TikTok video showed up in one of my friends here's recommendation feeds because they're TikTok famous now. Fuck
That's-
that, man.
I have a friend that's
Everyone
TikTok
is fucking
but he's
TikTok
racist,
famous,
so-
though.
Oh god.
But like,
Sounds like
I wanna be.
Syracuse.
Like,
you, Rob.
Yeah.
like 3 of my friends the other night made like a TikTok just randomly, and it's like famous now, and there's all these people sliding into her DMs, or like one of them, like a bunch of guys on TikTok were being really thirsty for her, and they're all like 12.
Damn.
Sounds like our listeners.
Pretty much.
I want to be Twitter famous, and I feel like I'm getting there. Like I
Yeah.
already have like
Your
a
tweets
cult.
are very
I have a
solid.
Very
cult.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
I don't know if you guys saw my tweet the other day that said, society is like, you can criticize men as long as you rub their back and remind them that they're still mommy's special boy as you do it.
Yeah, that's a
And
solid
that's been
tweet.
like popping up lately. Like that's been popping up.
What's your? Do you want to plug your Twitter
Yes,
before we get started?
it is Oscar Wilde's wig.
Okay.
That is my Twitter and my Instagram.
All right, that'll be in the episode description.
But yeah, to sum it all up,
Yeah.
we workshop tweets, like me and Ava / Finn would send each other like tweet ideas, like our drafts, and we're like, you think this is ready to bang yet? You think this one's good? Like, has it marinated
Yeah.
enough? And a lot of my tweets I made over that small winter break period were totally like with Ava's influence, like entirely. And then
Those were
really
good
good.
tweets. Yeah.
and then they got they were playing a drinking game with their friends, and their punishment for like losing one of the challenges was to get their Twitter profile pic replaced by a pic of those 2 friends.
Mhm.
And they liked it so much. I'm just like, well, I mean, you can't really
But the
be a rat.
right. But the rat aesthetic.
The rat is
How could you betray me?
and then I was just like, to be fair, I was also feeling like the rat was kind of played out, like a lot, and they're feeling the same.
But it
way.
was like a saga. It was like a.
It was good.
Like
There's
a
a
whole
lot
thing.
of evolution. My Twitter's so fucking weird. It's really like.
Did you ever see that TikTok where this like, she's like 12. Like she looks very young. This young woman is like, okay guys, little update on the whole rat situation. My rat like is really coming along, and then like she turns her head and goes like, "Nyeh." And like her face and the way she
I've seen
positions
that
her
TikTok.
nose
What is she just?
and her mouth look like, you know, the way cartoon rats look. Like, did you ever see
Sure.
the Russian cartoon version of the Nutcracker Ballet? But it was like the 3-headed rat queen and her 3-headed rat son, and they're just like. Meh.
What?
Did I know? But that sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, my Twitter.
Yeah.
My Twitter's cool. And my Twitter's a big part of like allowing me to express my thoughts.
Yeah, bro.
when I'm, like, just my brain can't catch up.
It's
I
a good
just like
Twitter.
reading them.
So let's get started into like the
Naruto
podcast.
shit,
Yeah. We open on Pakun, which is the name of that.
Specifically his butthole.
Oh, did it?
Yes, it was just an X on the screen, and I was like, what's that? And then it zoomed out, and it was his butthole.
Like in Spider-Man when it opens on the Spider-Man signal and it like zooms out and it's all of Spider-Man, but a dog's ass.
Yeah.
Which is cool. We open.
I will say that for as much as I didn't understand what was going on, the dog with a deep voice, I felt like
Oh
a
my
very.
God.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
if there had to be like a character,
So
you had to
funny.
be first introduced to Naruto.
I'm glad Pakun's here, like straight up. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Short king.
yeah, no, that's what we were saying all last week. Pakun, Naruto, and Sakura are continuing to race towards Sasuke, and Pakun smells that Sasuke has stopped moving, and they're all like, "Oh shit, are we gonna catch up to Sasuke in time? I don't know." And then Pakun does like this weird ass bit where he's like, "Oh, I smell something else.
Oh my god.
It's your shampoo. It's the same shampoo that I use." What was
Okay,
going
so
on with that?
I don't know. On one hand,
Uh-huh.
a good part of me was like, I fucking hate this.
On the other hand, I'm glad to know that Sakura uses minty rainforest mist with extra body shampoo.
I'm glad that that's
Imagine
like
that,
canon,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it probably exists somewhere as merch.
Well, like you can buy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just liked how fucking like absurd it was. Like if they're gonna go for a funny bit,
Mhm.
they really went out there. They made it so like even on a mission, Sakura got so
Yeah.
fucking hurt that she jumped away.
Yeah, bro, she turned into
Yeah,
like
she
super
was like
deformed.
weirdly drawn,
Mhm.
yeah, and like just kind of like.
And she was like, "Oh
Same
shit, I
so
smell like
bad.
a dog."
Yeah.
I just kept repeating it.
Well, because Pakun was also like, "You use the same shampoo as me, but my hair looks
He
better."
was dissing her. It's
Yeah.
like, why does my coat look glossier than your hair? Like,
Why do you think his paws are so damn supple?
Yeah, it's because he with the
Oh.
shampoo and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
He
yeah.
lathers.
Well, it is full body
I told-
shampoo.
I told
Soft and supple.
a few friends recently that
Mm.
I use. I only shampoo my hair like once, like every 2 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's terrible. Why do you do that? Because I use this like 3-in-1 shit. And they just got so disappointed in me. They look so hurt.
Really?
And I didn't know the big deal about it until recently.
So your roommate took 3 pictures of you for my film class.
Yeah.
We had to make a triptych.
Who is your roommate?
Nick.
He's like a tall, handsome boy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He is beautiful.
lad.
But he was we projected those pictures. We had to take a triptych, which is like 3
God.
pictures that tell a story, and everybody had to project theirs. So
Jesus.
they projected yours, and we weren't allowed to like talk about it. So
Yeah.
it was just the professor analyzing it, and he sees you, and he goes, we seem to have a young man here, slightly unkempt hair, seems sad."
No fucking way.
I think Nick wrote it down, so he'll probably talk to you about it later. But like,
That's so
Seems
funny.
sad.
So funny.
Oh, you dickhead.
it was iconic, bro.
God.
But then you ate your sandwich, and he was like, "He's happy now."
Oh my god.
Because that was the 3 pictures. It was Raj, and then he ate a sandwich, and then he was smiling.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna go smoke a cigarette.
This photographer took pictures of people before and after giving them sandwiches. The reactions are stunning.
Literally, he was like, Raj, could you like just look like you're starving? And I was like, that one took like a few takes. That one, he just
Really?
like, Raj, you look like you're struggling a little more. Like you look a little.
That's why you seem
I
sad.
can only
You were
struggle
so
so
hungry.
much.
Yeah. It's actually really hard to force a struggling face. I was like, I just can't.
Raj learns acting
Pretty much.
from a triptych. Yeah, but yeah. So Sakura's like all like sad and shit because she got roasted by a dog, and
Sandwich.
Okay, there's
she
3
hops away.
M&Ms left. We can divide them individually if we cut them, or we can make some sacrifices. Who wants to step up to the plate and not take one of the
we have
M&Ms?
M&Ms on our table.
Oh yeah,
There's a
that
podcast
also wasn't
M&Ms.
addressed.
Sorry,
So-
now it's explained.
Yes.
There's 3?
I don't want one.
Okay,
You're
that's
looking
one
directly
down.
at me.
I'm alright. Oh, so there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now who wants what color? I'm wearing green. You're wearing red. Lizard's kind of wearing orange.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
This is
That's,
actually-
decides.
seems rather
Here's the
destinal.
fun part about this sweater. It's like pink and like maroon and orange
It's like
and
rainbow
yellow.
sherbet.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, it
but
is.
it's also basically the colors of the lesbian pride flag.
This is true.
Damn.
And this is my
Ah.
girlfriend's sweater, so like I'm having
Oh, that's
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
a great
Yeah.
time.
Alright, let's all pop this M&M together, fellas.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to talk about what happens next.
Yes.
Kankuro and Temari are, they're like, oh man, I wish that Gaara was awake so he could fight Sasuke. And, oh right, because at the end of the last episode, Sasuke caught up to them.
Yeah.
I was a little confused. I was like, what is going on? Which I'm sure you were too. But yeah, so Temari is like, hey, you two gotta go ahead, I'll take care of Sasuke. Kankuro's like, no, that's a bad idea, but Temari's like, our goal is to protect Gaara, you gotta go ahead and do that. Yeah. So 2 boys hop away, and Sasuke tries to stop him, but his shuriken miss, and then he tries to, like, run after them, so Temari, you know, she swings her fan, and he gets blown away, as she does.
It's always so, like, sad that when we like, I don't know, it's just, like, even in your inflection of when you talk, you're like, Sasuke does fucking shuriken shit, and then Temari.
Yeah, I know.
It's, like, still trying to breathe.
Temari, you know, swings her fan and makes some wind.
She's such a character with great potential because they gave her... She's Gaara's, like, older sister who seems to be the only person who has any ounce of control on Gaara. Like, not, like, controllable, like, he'll hesitate a little.
Yeah.
You know? She has this cool power. Like, wind can be cool.
Yeah.
Her wind
Avatar Last Airbender.
Literally. And she, like, has feelings and character and depth.
Yeah.
And
they really just...
just throw her away.
Yeah.
She just waves around her fan and sometimes rides it.
Sometimes rides it.
In 2 FPS.
We didn't even get to see that.
It's so sad.
Damn. But yeah, so, like, even though she blew Sasuke back, she's like, oh shit, I'm low on chakra from my fight with Shikamaru, just like Shikamaru was low on chakra from his fight with her.
It's weird, but, like, I don't know. I was watching my roommate, and we were just talking about how, like, it very much seems so that some characters are just meant to get their ass beat, like, they're and it's kind of, or die, like, just, but Temari's one of those characters who gets built up so often, you're like, maybe
all the Sand siblings, you're like, oh, they're gonna be badass, and then it's like, actually...
It's like when they murked Ron's older brother in the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Like, they just build him up, and you think they're going to do something.
And then they don't. They take it away.
Yeah, one of them loses their ear. So not even deaf. They just,
it's tragic.
Van Goghs. He just, like, it's crazy.
Van Goghs that shit.
One of them dies, the other one's maimed. That's about
Why
it.
did Van Gogh do that?
I think because he was going deaf, or he had hearing impairment, and, like, he also, like, struggled with a lot of self-hatred.
Yeah.
And he saw that as something that hindered him, and he hated it about himself, so he was like...
That's what I like. I don't know.
Very
If I was him, right? If I was Van Gogh, it'd be a little different, right? I feel like that during that age, just for some reason, like, religion was just at, like, a 10. So maybe he would have been healed by a miracle. And we just... Cause I
like his ear would have been healed by a miracle?
No, because, like, I genuinely believe that, like, throughout time, there has been people with, like, really magical powers. Like, like, the entire, like, medieval ages, there had to be, like, witches and shit.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, slowly during the Renaissance age, there had to be, like... This is pretty much the plot of Hancock featuring Will Smith, but just throughout time there have been beings with great power.
Okay.
Aliens.
Yeah. Wait, but I actually kind of agree. Like I think that, like...
Dinosaurs, man.
Bro,
what the fuck?
Alright, like time, right? You know how, like, time is just a construct of, like, human perception?
Yeah.
And, like, everything is kind of happening at once.
Yeah.
And our minds are just, like... Well, that's, like, a theory anyways. That, like, our minds are just separating
Your
it.
mind.
Well, so, like, if we could quantify time and quantify, like, math and science and all that shit, maybe there's, like, a magical force out there that we just don't know how to break down yet.
I just think about, like, why us? Why Earth? Why
human
beings? Why couldn't we be, like, Venus people?
I used to have, like, existential breakdowns like that all the time when I was a little kid. And I would be in, like, Sunday school and I'd be like, why did God make people? Like, why did God make me? Like, did God make himself? And then they would send me to the pastor's office.
Did God make himself? Stop asking questions.
Shut up. I can't wait for someone to be listening to this episode, like, driving in the middle of the night, just getting really existential.
Yeah.
Why did God make me?
I'm definitely going to listen to this episode while driving home, and I'll be like, what?
No, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm, like, severely fucked up and unstable. But when I was a little
Cheers
kid,
to that.
I would, like, look into a mirror in, like, the little children's bathroom at elementary school, and I'd be like, there's a person in it? It's fucking weird. Like, people are talking about, like, do you ever have these, like, you know, delusions, or, like, I don't think delusions is the correct word, but do you ever have, like, these moments where, like, you think, like, oh, why am I a real person? Like, what is this? Who is this in this body? And then, like, people will respond to it and be like, that's a symptom of anxiety and all these other, like, ideative disorders and stuff, and I'm like, well, I've had feelings like that since I was 6, so that makes me feel
I always
great.
wonder, like, what if stuff like that is valid? You know what I mean? Like, who are we? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, delve down that rabbit hole, get trippy with it, and that is why I'm a bad person to have a head rush with because
It's the worst.
I'm
I
like,
never want to smoke
yes,
with you ever.
yes, go crazy with it.
Never. I never want to smoke with you.
Yeah. You have to be comfortable in your own high because I'm not comfortable in mine, so I'm projecting everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Morgan's
Pretty
like,
much.
Katie,
I'm
I need
just-
someone sober.
I'm just really dizzy and like I keep shaking, but everything's shaking.
Yeah, well, that's like, yeah. I was like,
I mean, to be fair, it's all we all have the same experience. Just people are perceiving it
Yeah.
differently.
Do you guys want a fun story?
sure.
So at Raj's birthday party over this past weekend, because Raj's birthday was this week. Happy
Yes, yes.
birthday, Raj!
Which I
Happy
missed
birthday,
because
Raj.
I was
Raj.
in the middle of a head rush.
Yes.
No, to be
Sorry,
fair,
queen.
I
it's
also
been like a
miss-
birthday week. People have been telling me happy birthday like way past,
Yeah.
even way
Every day is your
before.
birthday.
And everyone out there
It
who
is
wish
our
Raj.
birthday month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every time anyone gets
But
bagels, that's
Back
Raj's
to my
birthday.
story.
Alright.
No, I pull up to Raj's party with like 5 other people, and I immediately walk in and then sit on the couch and like fall asleep. And then I wake up to Raj shaking me, and apparently the first thing I said was, "Happy birthday, Raj!" And then I
Yes.
got up like
Yeah.
nothing happened. And then was UPD actually called?
No, so they were.
Yeah.
So their neighbors were like, if you don't get everyone out right now, then they'll call them. They didn't. Strangely, they joined the after party.
Yeah.
Your
Which
neighbors?
is weird. The
That's
neighbors
annoying.
who like were. I didn't know. At that point, we already like we were getting pressed.
Yeah.
But that story is like kind of funny because for me, I was just like chilling, freaking out because they stole my ox for a minute. And I was just like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that was
It's on the
not
playlist.
cool.
But then I was just like standing there, and then this girl grabs me and is like, "Yo, there's a girl passed out on the couch." And I was like,
I was like right behind you when that
little
happened.
did she know there wasn't a girl passed out on the
It was
couch.
Lizard.
It was
I didn't
me.
even know that was you. That's crazy.
And I'm non-binary.
Yeah.
And I thought you like died for a minute, and I was
Oh.
like, and then it freaked me out because I was like, how do I do health things? Because I was like, do I have like? And I put my ear to like your mouth. I was like, are you breathing? I don't know. I couldn't tell. And then I was just like, all right, you know what? If I shake Lizard, right, like maybe they'll wake up.
That seems like
So
the
I
safest
started
bet.
shaking you, and I was like, I'm either breaking their neck.
And sure enough, they
You
woke up. So like,
So-
the relief of you waking up like was overwhelming.
I'm so sorry.
No, because you were like recovered immediately. You were like, "Happy birthday, Raj!" I was like, "This is okay."
Yeah, happy birthday.
No, I mean, to be fair, like at the party we were at earlier that night, my friend had told me to lay down on the sidewalk, and I did it. And like I fell asleep then, and my friend was like, "Oh my God, Lizard died! Why are they on the sidewalk?" And then my friend who told me to lay on the sidewalk was like, "I didn't tell them to do that," and I was like, "Yes, you did," and
Yeah.
that was what made me come out of it. And then
Sometimes you just gotta lay on the sidewalk though.
Yeah.
Like that's true.
That is
that was
true.
a
Yeah.
that was a wild night.
So Sasuke is like, yo, what should I do to beat Temari? Should I use Chidori? That's like this thing he does where his hand turns into lightning.
Yes.
It's dope.
I kind of added that.
Oh, sick. So, but he doesn't. He just throws more shuriken because he's like, oh, I gotta save my chakra for when I fight Gaara. Temari easily repels the tools, then follows up with her wind scythe jutsu. Again, just wind.
Do something else.
Just wind.
But it like
It's-
slices up the
it's
forest
just
and
wind
shit.
when it misses.
Yeah.
If it were to hit,
I mean, it hits
it'd be-
trees.
It barely ever hits.
But like,
Well,
in terms of people
Yeah.
who could be lumberjacks to give them logs for substitution jutsus, Temari,
Temari, that's a
she's
good-
got like a solid
Yeah.
career ahead of her at lumberjacking.
It doesn't die.
She's everyone's plug for their substitution.
For their
duties.
substitution
Yeah, I
logs.
feel like you saying the word plug.
I didn't like
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
weird.
weird.
I
it. She made eye
tried
contact
it.
with me, and I felt dirty.
That cracked me up. That's
Oh
like-
god, next
that was
week
my
Katie's
point.
gonna be vaping too.
Oh my god.
I'm trying.
Katie, what would it? So you're straight edge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would it? What
We
would
all
it
say
take for
that.
you to like take the first step out of that?
What does that mean?
Like what? What
Well,
would what would
she's
your
allowed
baby
to be
step?
straight
No, she is.
edge.
But I'm just curious. Like,
I
would
mean,
you
I'll
start
drink
off
when
with the
I'm 21.
essential like oil? Like, would you vape the essential oil?
I haven't because I'm. I
Would
don't know.
that break straight edgeness?
Yeah.
The
Really?
essential
No.
oil.
Isn't that like a little bit of a bendy
If
edge?
it's essential oil, it's not. I had a
Well,
friend.
also
Yeah.
technically
who
she's
described
not
herself
truly
as
straight edge because she has a tattoo and she drinks caffeine.
I had
Ah.
a friend who used to
I-
describe herself as straight edge, but like she would smoke the jewel, which was like the nicotine.
Oh, that's
That's
straight up not
not-
straight
And
edge.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's. I feel like that's definitely.
Isn't that
Well,
like-
Katie, you're more of like a like punk or like a neo straight edge because like you
What
can
is that?
because like
Some
I've
crazy
never
shit.
pictured myself as punk.
Yes, Katie Sederi, infamous punk.
You're punk slash hyphen. Straight edge.
Uh-huh.
Because you have tattoos. And you do... caffeine's a drug.
Yeah.
I'm so addicted. Right now I have
Yeah.
such a headache because I've just been drinking tea because I'm sick and
But
it's not enough
obviously
caffeine
it's
for me.
not as bad as, like,
But-
smoking, like, huge gas. So you're like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
it's...
Well,
Well,
see,
ketamine,
the
caffeine.
interesting thing about
Ketamine's
tea
so cool.
is it's technically less caffeine, yes, but it kind of like spaces out throughout the day. So like if you drink tea in the morning,
Mhm.
like you'll get a little bit at once, and then it'll just like stay with you throughout the day. Whereas like
That's
coffee
crazy.
is like
I never heard that
all
before.
at once.
Yeah, I have like I work at a Starbucks, so I have like so much coffee all the time because
Yeah.
I get it for free while I'm working.
Yeah.
So like I'll just have like
That's like
3
what
cups of
pissed me
coffee
off about
in
doing
an
water
8-hour
only
shift.
now at college.
Mhm.
Because when I wasn't on water, I was always struggling to buy soda at home.
And now it's
It's
Soda City up in
everywhere.
this shit. Yeah.
It's
So yeah,
literally-
because we're sponsored
we're like
by
Pepsi.
Pepsi,
Yeah.
yeah. Our campus is like owned by Pepsi.
See, the thing is, like, I was never really a soda drinker, like, growing up, because I love
Didn't
that.
drink soda, yeah, that's
I
fine.
love that
I
water,
drink
baby.
all the soda. I
But,
drink
like,
them all.
sometimes I'll, like, get myself a sexy little ginger ale from the hub.
The ginger
Mm.
ale's
Feeling
the
spicy.
best.
Careful saying ginger ale around Raj.
Why?
It is.
Okay.
It is the best soda.
It's
the
not
most
even a
refreshing,
soda. It is a
crisp
healing
soda,
ambrosia.
A
It is
I
the
love that
nectar
term.
of the gods.
A Bible and a message from the angels.
Important question.
Yes.
Canada Dry or Schweppes?
Which one's made by Coke? Canada Dry is too foamy.
Too foamy?
No, yeah, it's Schweppes.
I think Canada Dry is a little too. It's
no,
like
no,
sweet.
it's not Schweppes.
Am I
No, I'm
crazy?
thinking of Seagram. Seagram is
Yeah.
is
Seagram's is where
objectively
it's
the
at.
best ginger ale. Canada Dry, way too much foam, right?
Yeah.
And Seagram's is way too like it goes flat
Mhm.
way too quickly, and there's like the sugar. It's
Yeah.
not even the competition. Those are two. That's two that are out there.
Mhm.
Seagram's
Thoughts on
You know-
ginger beer?
ginger beer.
Have you ever had ginger beer?
I've not. I
I've
don't
had
like the
non-alcoholic
taste of.
ginger beer.
Yeah, I think
They
most
have-
ginger beer is.
Most-
Yeah,
most
like
stuff
Trader
is-
Joe's makes a really nice
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I
I've
think it's
had
like
ginger chocolate. It's not good, but I've had it.
So I wonder if you would like ginger beer. It's very
Ginger beer
like
is
gingery.
very ginger.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like ginger.
Oh.
Fair enough. No. That's fair. That's fair. Because like I didn't like ginger and I loved ginger ale for a
I
while.
don't like
No, I
lemons or
was- 'cause I
limes,
was
but I love
relating.
Sprite. It's just like one of those things.
Yeah. Wait, did you say you don't like
I-
lemons or limes? But
No.
Do you
Right,
know
that's fair.
what was apparently a big thing? Because I had to learn about this because of Little Women. I was in a production of it, and then it became a movie. Well, not like the production.
Because
I
of
was
your
in, it became a
production.
movie.
Because of you.
Wow.
You guys got picked up for the
Fuck off.
Greta Gerwig saw it and she was like,
Inspired
"This is it."
No, but apparently a big thing in like the 1800s in America was like children would take limes and put salt on them and like let them marinate for hours at a time and then suck on them. And like that was like a thing these
Dude,
kids
that was
ate.
their
Yeah.
like that was their
What?
Naruto.
Yeah, it's either that or poppy seeds. You know,
They were
like,
like-
you really don't have many options back then.
Bro, let's marinate some limes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, why not
Let's go.
sugar? Because then it's like key lime pie almost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Because
a sweet
it's
candy
like
or
tequila
something.
shots without the tequila.
They really
So
fucked up in
weird.
America's timeline when they made the huge division between chores and fun. Because
Uh-huh.
back then, bro, fucking doing chores was fun.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Let's
you
go
know,
build a house.
Let's go build a fucking log cabin. Let's go chop mad wood.
Yeah, straight up.
Or just burn it in a fire.
Yeah.
Or like, let's go sign the Declaration of Independence, guys. Let's go.
My
Let's go.
favorite
Bro, let's go make a constitution.
Let's reunite the country, guys. Just for
That sounds like a
funsies.
chore.
They're just so
Yeah.
what else are they gonna do? Have wooden teeth just rot forever?
Yeah, just sit around and be like, damn, my teeth hurt.
For real.
That was
like,
their hobby.
Exactly.
That's why they were sucking on limes, though.
You know who probably had a cool life? I would love
See,
to just.
back in. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Keep going.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm in love with Joan of Arc. That's my white woman of the day.
Joan of Arc?
Yeah,
Joan of
la-
Arc? I
la-
love Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc is great. Last week it was Anne Hathaway.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
It's
wow.
true.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I saw your tweet where you're like, I'm thinking about Anne Hathaway, and I'm like,
I was
Yeah.
just really high in class,
This
and I
is
was just
it.
not caring, but I think
I'm
just like Anne
always
Hathaway.
thinking about Anne Hathaway.
And this
Did
week
you
it's
see-
And
Joan
then
of
Wayne
Arc?
said I
Now
look
it's
like
Joan
Anne
of Arc.
Hathaway from Les Mis, and I was upset.
What was that shoot she did for Elle? Like, I think it was like back in like June, where like she had like a white pantsuit on with no shirt, and you could see her side boob. I was like,
That's a godly photo. I know what you're talking
I was
about.
like, oh my God.
Extensively know what you're talking
please,
about.
like, just
Great
like
photo.
take my neck and just step on it.
That's all I
Like,
want from her.
please.
I would love for her to just crush my head with like between her thighs, like objectively, just like a watermelon, just squish.
Definitely. No, but I was
Anne
gonna
Hathaway,
say.
if you're listening.
In the 1800s, they
We'll tweet
sucked
this
on
out.
limes, and then in the 1900s, they like probably sucked on like I don't know lollipops or something.
Sure.
But now, in the 21st century, we are sucking titties and toes.
It's true.
I agree.
It's the natural evolution. You ever salt a toe, then let it sit for a couple hours and suck it?
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
So, there's all this wind coming at Sasuke, and he jumps out of the way, and then he throws some kunai down at Temari, but she pushes them and Sasuke both away with Sandstorm Jutsu, which, with another swing of her fan, reinvigorates the windstorm and, like, infuses it with grains of sand that sort of accumulate on all the branches that are around them.
Which is cool because, like, I kind of forget that she can do sand shit.
Yeah. It like, ties them all together with, like,
Yeah.
Gar and shit.
What does Kankuro do? What is his sand thing?
Puppets.
Sand puppet?
Yes, the puppets have sand in them a little bit. He's got to, like, shake them out.
Why is no man added a pocket sand but with Kankuro?
Yeah.
Pocket sand.
That's what, if the crow doesn't work, he's just got sand in his pockets. Temari considers how hopeless the fight will be if Sasuke continues holding back. That doesn't make any sense. Why would it be hopeless if he's holding back? That might have been a bad sentence. The point is, she's like, oh, I wonder when Sasuke's going to attack. He jumps out, and he does attack. He uses Phoenix Flower Jutsu, which just rains down like a hailstorm of fireballs at
Maybe
Temari.
it's hopeless if he's holding back because he's not using his chakra and he'll just go forever. Oh, well, no, because she wants to stall him. Never mind. That didn't make sense.
Yeah, that was just a shoddy sentence. Not sure what I was thinking.
I was trying to
But
defend it, and then I...
I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought. But so Temari avoids the fireballs, but she like falls to the forest floor while she's evading, and then the comets like ignite the forest floor, which is like, now she's in the middle of a fire circle, and so she's trapped. And Sasuke then shoots down Fireball Jutsu, which is a different Fireball Jutsu than the first Fireball
Do you
Jutsu.
have a linear analysis on your choice of, what do you say, circle of fire rather than ring of fire?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really like reading word for word anymore. I'm just kind of like, just sort of saying things.
It just hit me when you said that. I've never heard anyone say circle of fire.
Because usually Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire always reminds me of Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
and I am so sick of fucking hearing Johnny Cash.
Are you?
Yes,
how
my
often do you
father.
hear-
My father is a
Okay.
huge Johnny Cash.
I thought you were
fan.
just-
I've never heard Johnny
And
Cash on
I'm
this
like-
campus.
I know.
No
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
like.
swear, my dad messages me, like texts me at least twice a week to be like, have you ever heard Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt by Nine Inch Nails? And I'm like, no, Dad, and I never will. Love you, though.
We love an old country singer covering Nine Inch Nails.
It is a cool concept.
Yeah, no,
Because like that just shows
it's a pretty tight
when
cover.
he was bumping 9 Inch
Yeah.
Nails when he was like.
He hurt himself today to see if he still feels.
He really did.
He really did. So yeah, big fireball headed towards Temari. She counters with a Windside Jutsu again, which forces Sasuke to retreat. However, he slips on the sand that formed on the branches, and he plummets to the forest floor. And then when he lands, or like right before he lands, Temari just throws 3 kunai in his like fucking gut.
It's the first time kunai ever seemed to have worked.
Yes, and then they don't have
Yeah.
worked because he's just a log, of course, substitution jutsu. And
For a
he-
second, they got me, though.
Yeah?
They don't usually.
Alright.
Yeah.
Like,
Katie, you
kunai,
should know to
that's not gonna
expect
do
that
anything.
everyone's a log.
Yeah.
If it's a main character and they get hurt, it's a log.
yeah.
It's either that or big transformation.
Yeah. Either it's a log or it's the Ninetales. It's gonna be one. But yeah, so he turns into the log, but then on the log he put a paper bomb, which explodes and like shoots Temari back so hard that she coughs up blood. It's quite visceral,
That
actually.
was a
Yeah.
weird choice that they like threw that in there.
I know.
Because usually they save blood for either like
Like a dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was just like we've seen people fly way farther than that.
And not
Well,
cough
because
up blood.
Temari's a bitch.
Maybe that or Sasuke's really strong now.
No, I
But
think
that wasn't even
Temari's a
Sasuke. That was
bitch.
just a paper bomb.
He has strong paper bomb.
He has the strongest of paper.
Because that's the thing, because like your tools are attached to like you as a character.
Mhm.
So Sasuke's paper bomb is gonna hurt way more than Temari's paper bomb.
Right.
As to why like Guy's punch hurts more than random grunt 3's punch.
Right. Middle-aged mustache sweater vest man's
Exactly.
punch.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, he's the best of all of them, actually.
Yeah, he's battling those 3 giant snakes right
Yeah.
He's
now.
battling
Yeah.
demons in his head,
single-handedly.
bro.
Yeah.
He's trying to come
There's so Lizard, just to explain Middle-aged mustache sweater vest man. Basically, all of the like side characters have distinctly less character design than anyone else.
Yeah.
But in one scene where it was like the high school and it was
Yeah.
all the kids, there was a man sitting at a desk who was like a fully grown ass like 40-something-year-old dude with a mustache and a sweater
Was
He
vest.
had
that
a
the beginning of the
headband,
Chunin
bro.
exam?
Yeah.
But
And
him having the headband.
Yeah, he was like he was a little
We're
ninja.
like, I'm glad there's senior representation.
Yeah, no.
It was really aggressively like your lecture that you walk in and there's like an 80-year-old sitting
Yeah,
there
it was
ready to
the
take
it was
notes.
the 80-year-old.
Yeah, I feel like this happens though. Like I know, like I don't know. I knew plenty of like like especially like boys in high school who
Mhm.
looked so much older than they actually.
Oh my god!
were.
Imagine if he's their age and he just hit puberty like super hard, super fast, and he was like a fully grown.
Like there's like
50?
dudes in my year who look like they're 40, and I'm like still 5 years old.
I
so,
feel that. All right, understandable.
The way I look age wise is always dependent on my facial hair,
Mhm.
which is like Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
I always look the oldest because that's when my
Right
facial
before you
hair
shave?
hits those peaks.
Right.
But then when I shave, I not only feel younger,
Mhm.
I feel a lot better.
Mm.
Which is why when I have facial hair, I hate
Yeah.
so many things.
My facial hair is pretty patchy, so I just kind of either look 13 or 11, depending on if I haven't shaved or I have. So I bounce between first year middle school and 8th grade, like, you know what I mean?
I can tell.
Yeah.
You go through all of middle school in a week.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the
I
constantly.
would love
That
to give
sounds
you
awful.
my facial hair, just like
Sounds like
I
a
would take it,
nightmare.
bro.
You had the solid beard for a while, and I was very disappointed.
I
Who had a solid beard?
I
Yeah.
really
When
appreciate
was
the
this?
support. It was like right before. It was like over break mostly, but like the last like
It was solid.
it was.
I was not aware.
It took a long time and a lot of work to, you know what I mean, like shaving in
Yeah.
like
I'm not
sections
gonna
and shit.
shave for 1 month. I think I'm gonna see where that would take me.
I have
No
a
shave
younger
February.
brother who, like, he also has very patchy facial hair, and
Yeah.
my parents are always racking on him to shave it because they just think it looks bad.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think the only reason he's not shaving it is because he knows it pisses them off.
Yeah, that's
what
fair.
I did in high school in 10th grade. I grew a chin beard,
Mhm.
and it pissed off my dad so much.
You did?
Yeah,
As opposed
he
to a
was
what
like,
beard?
huh?
A chin beard as opposed
It's
to
just
what
all
else?
this.
It's
like-
like just
just your
this,
chin.
no
Oh,
else.
got it.
You know what you should do? You should do a soul
What?
patch.
I know when I was
Chin strap?
shaving it, I would slowly shave it into different designs until it was all
Mhm.
gone. So
That's
I did
so
have a
funny.
soul patch for a hot minute.
For literally
Did you
a
make
hot
sure
minute.
Your
but
dad
yeah.
saw?
Yeah, my
You
dad was
just
watching.
shaved the so much, walked out of the bathroom, you're like, Dad, fuck you! Then walked right back in
No,
and
the
shaved
problem
it
was that like when I shaved it off, my
Uh-huh.
dad was like, I just came around to it.
off.
And I was like,
Roger, I was thinking, and I think you look really cool with a soul patch.
and I turned around and she's like, you shaved it off. You look stupid, kid. Damn.
You look stupid, kiddo.
Aw.
That's my
I wish I
dad.
never had you.
That's my dad.
That's actually my dad's Twitter bio. Temari coughed up blood, and Sasuke's like, oh yeah, she's definitely immobilized, and he comes out and he's like, damn, I wish I didn't waste all this time, and then he runs off to catch up with Gar and Kankuro. Temari, breathless and heavily injured, she's just like, man, I hope my siblings escaped, like that's all she can do. So, then, we cut to what actually matters, which is above the tuning exams, where we get, it's like a little recap of the last episode. Orochimaru just tore off their face, they look like very feminine now, we don't really know what's going on, and the third is like, yo, you're all
The
dark and
voice actor
twisted, and
changes, too.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
switches
That
to a
part
female voice
confused
actor.
me.
I know.
Because, well, I guess get to where they explain it, but like I feel like that part's not really explained.
I hate that I'm seeing this in like the bad animation. You know?
Uh huh. Well,
'Cause, like,
I think that
They used it for just the smile.
exactly, yeah, just the
but
recap.
Then it cuts back to that really like the default one, and it's just not doing the creepy
Nah.
design justice. I mean, in its own right, it looks creepy
Mhm.
with just like how like doing the dead.
Yeah,
stare
Orochimaru's creepy as fuck.
But in the great animation, they spoil us. They
Yeah,
really do.
it's true. It's true. So the third is like, yo, you're so fucked up. This is why you could never be fourth Hokage. And then we flash back to like years earlier, and the third Hokage is running through this like weird underground lair with two Anbu
Metal
agents.
Gear mode, bro.
Yeah, straight up. And he gets to this like door at the end of the hallway, and they knock it down. And then we get into this room, and here's like a pretty big manga anime difference. In the anime, all over the walls and stuff, it's like eyeballs in jars and shit, you know, like body parts in jars. But in the manga, it's just dead bodies all around.
Still can't see that.
And
A little more to the right. A little more. You gotta be.
you see it now?
No. Gotta keep
It's
going.
this
Straight.
guy.
Okay, so what are you showing me next?
This room. Look.
Oh, the room
Dead
itself.
bodies everywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
In the
Yeah, I thought you pointed to a certain guy. There's a lot.
no,
of
no,
bodies.
just the dead
Yeah.
bodies
Oh,
everywhere.
That's a lot of bodies.
Yes, yeah. And in the anime, it's
they
just like
naked?
body. Yeah, it's like all
Oh,
these
wow.
like naked, like mutilated corpses. Just
That's so uncomfortable.
exactly. Yeah.
But that's his character.
Right. And in the anime, it's like softened a little bit because it's just like body parts and like weird
Yeah, I feel like
experiment
putting
stuff.
that on like a screen is
Exactly.
very, very
I'm
harrowing.
glad they just did like the one body part or whatever
see
instead
it again?
of like.
Do you use Audacity to record this?
We do use Audacity.
I
to
use
record this.
Audacity to make my track mixes.
Fuck yeah. Audacity fucking slaps. Yeah.
But remember when they give Kaiser this purple arms?
Yes, of course I remember that. Yeah.
I'm glad they just didn't do something.
We've had like mad
that.
censorship throughout like the whole Forest of Death
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, in the canon version of this, there's dead bodies everywhere, and in the middle of the room, Orochimaru is fucking with some dead body. It's like just really fucked up. And so Orochimaru turns around, and they're like, "Oh, you made it through all my traps. I didn't expect the Hokage to come after me."
He's something really funky Orochimaru.
It kind of sounds like him though.
He does, but it's very like
disco Orochimaru.
Yeah, it's like,
You
wow.
know, you start
That's
like
kind of
busting
how
a
he
move.
is.
Like,
Like, that's just what he feels like all the time. Like,
Yeah.
he's just gonna start, like, dancing.
You
But
ever
so-
play,
yeah.
like the RPG Maker, like horror games, or like see the trend on YouTube for?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I
My
think
girlfriend
like
keeps trying to get me to play Slender Man with her.
Slenderman.
Slenderman's a scary game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of like Cookman, Misao, like
Mhm.
all that stuff. But like
Sure.
just like this would be a good like adaptation. Just
Mhm.
like Hokage going through. And
Yeah,
then,
infiltrating Orochimaru's lair.
and then seeing Orochimaru and just the fucking bodies everywhere.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's just, like,
Spooky as hell.
operating.
So one
What's
of
an idea out there? $1 million idea for free. Come get more ideas from me, Raj. That's right.
keep listening to NaruTalk
Keep
for
listening
more
to NaruTalk.
ideas.
I keep putting you on $1 million ideas.
So
Here's another one: horses, but with 2 fucking legs.
Fucking legs.
it's a good idea. It's $1 million idea.
It's just
think
one
that's-
seat, no tail, just 2 legs, neck and
One
head.
seat, no tail, 2
What?
fucking legs.
Uh huh.
So
So, like, take a horse, cut it in half.
Katie, this is why you're not a millionaire.
someone out there is cutting a horse in half as we speak, becoming $1 million.
Yeah, somebody listening right now, they see a horse and like, this is it, 2-leg horse. So one of
the dead fucking horse cut in half. He's like, yeah, this is it right here.
sends us a
the next
picture,
episode.
tweets at NaruTalkPod, made a 2-leg horse.
Oh, no.
Where's the $1 million?
Where's my yeah. So one of the Anbu, like, basically just lists off Orochimaru's crimes. They're like, oh, yo, a bunch of Genin, Chunin, Jonin, and Anbu have gone missing lately, and you've been seen with all of them, and also you've been acting strange
I
lately.
love that though. That like, you've been acting pretty fucking weird
Which,
lately,
I
buddy.
just, like, is Orochimaru not always acting
Yeah,
weird? Is that
it's
not, like,
like-
their
Yeah.
whole MO? Like,
Kind
But
of
I-
is.
But maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's like, you weren't licking me on the face last week. That was a little weird. You do that every
Yeah.
Thursday. Like, I don't know.
where's my
Licking
face
out the
lick?
face.
Yeah.
Well, that
That's
was
licking.
literally the first thing Orochimaru did was lick Naruto's face,
That's
right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
He's just. I feel like he's
He's
someone
so-
who's really into like
they're
really touchy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like too, like the trope is kind of like the person is really weird, but you don't notice until like things start popping up, and
Until
you're like,
people start getting murdered.
huh.
Oh, yeah. It was weird that they kept luring people into their van.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
weird when I saw him take someone off the street, and when he whispered to me and said, "Don't let anyone know I was here."
What is this accent?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
so
who's
stupid,
from
it's
New York in the
incredible.
Leaf
No,
Village.
everybody's got soft and supple paws.
I
Oh
just
my
really like
gosh.
that voice a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
Um,
such a funny one.
But the thing is, I'm only ever good at accents one at a time.
Raj, I have a question. Have you ever seen Oh Hello?
Oh, hello.
What's
John
Oh, Hello?
Mulaney
Oh,
Cross.
Mm.
I am a
John
Tony Award
Mulaney.
viewing actor.
John Mulaney is someone who, like, when I was very edgy in
Mhm.
high school, I'd be like, I don't know if I find him funny. But
Mhm.
then as I like got older, I slowly started to appreciate his jokes.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
so funny.
I think because I took away his comedy from Tumblr.
Yeah.
So like once I separated those two worlds, I was like, you know, this guy's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. I like John Mulaney.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand, like, if you were going through, like, a anti-mainstream thing, then, like, of course
I
you
was
would.
like
Yeah.
Him, instead of him, I got into like Daniel Tosh. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
So, one of the Anbu's like, hey, why are you doing all this creepy shit? And Orochimaru's like, well, now I have to kill you too. And also, yes, it was me
That
who did
is what
this.
he sounds like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right?
I fucking
You're
love
really
it.
well.
And then he continues and he's like, oh, I'm researching forbidden jutsu by sacrificing other ninja, all in pursuit. So now we're learning Orochimaru's big goal, basically.
Mhm.
Orochimaru wants to learn every jutsu and also invent every jutsu that could possibly exist, which is fucking crazy.
That is crazy, but
Mhm.
kind of cool.
Kind of cool. Don't love the, like, murder, but, like...
maybe not him killing people, but the idea that you can make more jutsu.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well,
cool.
yo, the way they explain it is that Orochimaru is like, they think of themselves as like the artist that discovered the color green, but chakra is.
I hated that he did that. I
Yeah?
was like, this is the most convoluted metaphor ever, and it's stressing me out.
Yeah.
It's like the color blue and yellow to make green, except blue is this, and then yellow is this, and then green is this. So it's literally not
Yes.
like that at all.
Orochimaru, he's just
Yeah.
man, he's more a man about style.
Yeah,
not
but the way he explains it is that blue is chakra and yellow is hand signs. Pop them together, you get green, and all the different shades, quote unquote, would be like jutsu variations, I guess. You know,
Oh, so there's like infinite
shades of
jutsu
green.
that you
So
can
that,
do.
yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, because there's basically infinite possibilities and combinations, Orochimaru would need virtually infinite experimentation time. And so even if he was named Hokage, he wouldn't be able to defeat his ultimate villain, which is their own mortality. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Deep as fuck.
Poetic.
Yeah. So above all else, Orochimaru wants to learn the immortality jutsu.
Well, that's just not real. That's just.
I know, we're going back to just what it is and then pop jutsu at the
I
end.
can't defend this one.
It's cheating. Like, you
I
can't.
tried,
Yeah.
but this one I cannot.
Pursuit
You know?
jutsu, is that what it was? that we
Pursuit
made fun
jutsu, yeah. And this one's
I
just.
tried with that one.
Yeah.
This one is
That one's
just.
just
Immortality jutsu.
Immortality.
Like, just say that you're seeking immortality.
Yeah,
like,
like-
you. Like, it's cool.
I don't
Like,
wanna
message,
die.
Yeah.
like way cooler.
yeah. I'm like 70 episodes in. I'm willing to accept that just you want to be immortal. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. I'm in
This
it.
is fine.
Yeah. Back in the present, Orochimaru kind of like figures that the third is having this flashback, I guess, and he's like, "Oh yeah, want to talk more about the immortality jutsu? Let's do that." And so basically,
Notice,
Talking.
I didn't even question that he just knows what he's thinking.
I know, right? It's weird.
Maybe it's a jutsu.
But
Mind reading
Hokage is
jutsu.
Mind reading jutsu.
realize that you're having a flashback
Is this when
jutsu.
Third Hokage just like bawling his eyes out?
No, I think that's after a different flashback.
There's just
He cries like every
He
couple
crying,
minutes.
bro.
Yeah. No, he's like
He be
comfortable with crying, you know?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
crying, keep
Yeah.
scrolling.
Yeah.
I love posts like that so
Mhm.
much. Just like my new favorite niche meme like that I
Yeah.
like a lot is just gay anime porn with like people like say with like impact font going like
Sentence
who
over.
wants to play League of Legends just like that.
You know, one of
It's
my
like
friends
one
last
league.
year, he graduated from the VA, and like in his studio, he had a bunch of like yaoi that he drew himself
Yeah.
Hot.
on the walls, and I was like, these are like
We,
stunning.
interestingly enough, we actually talked, I think last week, about like the validness of like anime style
Yeah.
art.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
just that they
yaoi
should
is
learn how to
beautiful.
draw like how to more accurately draw female/women's bodies.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's just a little fucked. But
Yagami spells I'm gay backwards. I don't know.
Blizzard says I'm gay all the time. I don't know, guys. Sounds
Does
like
Light
I'm
Yagami
gay.
spell I'm gay backwards? I feel like I remember. Wait, does it?
I was trying to figure that out, but I don't think it does.
Light Yagami.
maybe it's like an anagram?
No, wait. I am. Is it?
I am Tom
gay?
Riddle.
Okay,
There's
we're gonna
an
put
L in there,
pen and
isn't
paper.
there?
Pen and paper. Let's do
Okay,
this.
here.
We're gonna break it down. We're gonna.
While you do that, I'm going to explain really quickly how the immortality jutsu works. Basically, Orochimaru sacrifices like a living body and like kicks out their soul and
That's
sort of.
his favorite thing to do is sacrifice living.
Well, that's how
Yeah.
fucking the bring back the Hokage jutsu works too.
Yeah, he
So,
just
like-
killed so many people.
Yeah, but this one it's more well, it's just Orochimaru's soul overtakes their body. And so the only so Orochimaru is this woman now.
Solved it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, Light Yagami,
Mhm.
right? Just Yagami backwards is I am gay.
Wait,
Now,
Yagami backwards is I am gay?
I am gay.
Holy
But
fuck.
Light backwards is Thigil, and that's not a joke. That's just it backwards.
What?
You're a regular
Raj is
Batman.
really onto something. Raj, what
I
were
am-
you saying about niche memes or something? I had a connection to your niche
Thigil.
memes thing.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
am
we
about the
Thigil.
porn.
League of Legends. Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
I am
the
gay.
other week, I was getting
Thank
lunch in Terave after class because it was after class, and we
Mhm.
always get Terave after class.
Sure,
so
sure.
we go to Terave after class. And
When you were at Terave.
we're in
after
Terave
class.
after class. And my friend is like, talking about this porn that she saw once, where like this guy like comes home and his babysitter is there, and he's like, "Where's my son?" And then
Wait,
she's like,
CPS took him.
And then like he and the acting is terrible. And he's like,
"You gave my son
CPS, Child Protective Service. You gave my son."
I thought he was the pizza man. And then she's like, I want a pizza.
Like, I don't
you gave
know.
my son up for pizza?
I'm sorry.
Have you talked about this on the podcast
No,
before?
but
or something?
anyway,
No, this is.
So the
I think
best
that
part-
you have just watched this porn before.
I
Clearly.
definitely have not.
The best
I
part,
haven't heard
though,
this.
of the porn is that he gets really sad that his son has been taken away, and then he sits down next to the babysitter and lays his head in her lap, and then she like starts running her hand through his hair. Then he starts like kissing her leg and stuff, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Carly, I need this."
They just took my son.
And she's like,
She's like,
"Fine."
What
It's really
fetish
Wow.
is that?
I don't know.
I can't believe you know that.
No,
That's
like
such a deep part of
my
brain.
favorite meme currently is just like stupid shit from porn. Like, you know the right in front of my salad meme?
That's a
That's
classic.
from a gay porn, and the best part of it is that these dudes are literally fucking, and the woman is like, "Are you guys having sex right now?" And like the guy is like visibly thrusting into the other guy, and he's like, "No, definitely not." And it's like, are you seriously gonna try to deny it?
I like the one with where the dude's in the bathtub and the woman comes up and she's like,
I
"I'm a
see you have a
lifeguard."
lifeguard here.
Yeah, I'm a lifeguard. I think you're gonna drown. He goes, "No, I'm not."
The beach, this bathtub.
A classic.
She just goes, "Do you want to have sex?" And he goes, "Sure, yeah."
I have no way to bring porn to Naruto. But,
Don't.
Yeah, I
Only
just.
if there's sexy harem jutsu. Then
True.
Then it combines.
Unfortunately,
Naruto
Or
isn't
Jiraiya.
doing sexy harem jutsu because Naruto's not here, but you know who is here?
Orochimaru. So yeah, Orochimaru is this.
Someone call him sexy. Would you call?
I would. Oh my god,
I would
yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
He's
So.
very sexy.
In like the dark, mysterious kind of way.
Didn't Jiraiya say
yeah.
he had like a tight little body or something like that?
Oh, you're talking about Naruto. Jiraiya did call Naruto's
What are you
body
talking
tight
about?
little. We were talking about Orochimaru.
Oh!
You thought? Yeah. You thought that we first. Okay, so two
sorry,
things. First of all,
I'm
crazy thing to
confused.
bring back. Second of all, you thought we were describing Naruto as dark and mysterious and sexy.
Yeah, actually. I
You were just
think I have a fever. I hallucinate when I have a fever.
And you're hallucinating tight, sexy Naruto.
No!
That's
You don't need weed, clearly.
I'm just...
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you don't need.
This is
weed.
what enough
yeah,
caffeine
for
does to you.
sure.
But yeah, so
Oh my
for like the fourth time, Orochimaru is this lady now, and they were only using their like old face because to like prey on the Third's nostalgia. So Orochimaru is like, "Oh, and the next body I possess, thank you for like training it and making it all strong and fostering it." Because Orochimaru's goal is to possess Sasuke's body. Yeah, that's fucking huge. This is like the plot. So
Why doesn't his voice change when he takes over someone's body? I would think it'd be like
It
him,
does.
but in somebody's body.
Oh no!
Why
because
doesn't it?
Why does it change? Because it's they have the vocal cords of whatever body they're in.
It's a spirit, like his literal spirit.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And then I think it's like
That's so many voice actors they didn't really
It's
need.
kind of just like.
I agree.
I wanted to bring that up. Why is it that like voice dub American actors for anime are just like terrible?
Whoa!
Whoa!
Arguably,
Mad
no.
disrespect.
Is that too hot of a take?
Okay, no. Okay, I will
Uh-huh.
harshly defend you. With all mediums,
Mhm.
right? Voice acting especially. There's some great ones out there.
Mhm.
There's also a lot of bad ones out there. I'll personally call out the dub of English VA for Neon Genesis Evangelion for Shinji.
Yeah.
You suck.
Very bad.
I don't like your voice,
Mhm.
like, at all. And you know what?
But what's the name of the guy who voices anime that's in our Discord?
Yeah, I was gonna say we have like an
he's
anime
in
voice.
from fucking
Haikyuu.
guy.
Damn, what's his name?
Yeah.
We'll figure
I don't know, but he's fucking great.
Yeah, you're great. So there are great ones.
Yeah.
There are bad ones, but it's all about like some people find Naruto's voice actress annoying and some wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, I
just
think,
how
like,
it goes.
a
It doesn't
big-
bother Miley.
a big part of, like-
Miley's making
Yeah.
money.
A
She's
big part of
incredible.
why it's like so stilted though is because they have to match up with the lip flaps. That's why like when you hear anime, you know it's anime right away.
Yeah.
Because that's why they have to talk in like that sort of disjointed way, is
That is
to match
true.
it with the lip flaps.
I do think if there's a great dub out there and you're just an English native speaker, yeah, dub just kind of seems like the way to go. You can watch it, hear it, understand it. Whereas sub, you really need to be focused, but that gives its own merits.
Yeah, I think they're both valid.
On an anime and having to read what is being said kind of makes you like forces you to pay attention way more than you would with
I think it also really depends on the anime.
Yeah.
I know I watched some of JoJo's, and JoJo's you cannot watch the dub. The dub is awful.
The dub's a lot.
I'm a dub defender of JoJo's only because hearing English voice actors say that shit is so
wacky,
strange. It's a fucking trip.
And that's why I think because like I was like, oh well, I want to like understand it. And the person I was watching it with was like, no, you need to like.
It's a different thing.
You need to watch it with the subtitles because there's jokes that do not land in
Oh
English.
yeah, without a doubt. But I think like shows that are like meant to be cartoony and like for kids, like fucking Naruto, Dragon Ball, My Hero, like those are good with the dub because it's like they're just meant to be like for like kids or whatever, you know what I mean?
But that's another thing too. Like kids will grow up listening to that and defend it.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Is like it is whatever you kind of came up
we'll
on.
We'll defend the Naruto like voice actors for like ever because we grew up going like but then Morgan and Katie didn't grow up with it, so now it's opening us going like
who is good, who is bad.
Like I love Shikamaru's voice actor like a stupid amount.
Yeah.
Like I love him and to a degree
he's not a drag at all.
No.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's actually the opposite.
Great.
He's a
puff or like a carry, like a I think what the opposite of a drag is.
Oh.
Yeah, like a lift.
Like a
swing.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yes.
There are characters I don't
and
like.
Guy's voice actor?
Guy's voice actor's great.
Fucking iconic.
Raccoon's voice actor's great. Diamond Blunt's fantastic. Jiraiya.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So many bangs after bangers.
I like Orochimaru's. I think it fits.
Was it that I
so
said
good.
that anime voice dub actors suck? I feel bad.
No, not at all. I mean, like,
We got one in our
a
Discord.
valid conversation.
What?
Yeah,
We
whatever.
got one in our Discord.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel bad now.
No. Whatever your take is, like, it's totally valid. Like,
There's
1,000%.
I know, but I don't want to just tell people they suck and have that be my legacy on this podcast. I do that enough with Liam.
We spew a lot of hatred.
We do.
Yeah, everybody's take is like
meaning
super
Raj.
valid.
We meaning Raj, just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, hey, hatred is valid too.
It is.
You know,
But like, I feel like you never hate anything. Like every time I see you, you're just like, I love you, King.
Well, that's real life. I don't like voice
lets
my
it all out on the
opinions
podcast.
in
Yeah.
a podcast. Come here going like
This is Raj's hate hour.
This is my unhingedness.
Yeah.
I just like to remain calm at all times.
It's
real
real crackhead hours, guys.
It is.
Raj is more unhinged than Orochimaru's jaw.
Ah, nice little.
No,
Oh my
actually,
gosh, that's
my
so
jaw's
funny.
pretty unhinged. It's like absurd how unhinged my
That's
No
not
one said
good.
your jaw wasn't unhinged.
Yeah, that's not contradicting.
No, listen.
Oh god, here comes the hate.
Listen, I have experienced a lot of hate from Raj. I can take it.
So, Orochimaru licks their lips while the third Hokage is like, yo, what's your body count, bro? Like, how many...
Oh my god.
What's your fucking
No,
body
not
count?
like that. Just like, how many people have you been inside? You know what I mean?
No,
Oh my
no,
God.
even with that kind, it's like, so bro, like, how many people have you like murked? If we could just like,
How many people have you been in? Like, that's literally the question.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And Orochimaru's like, oh, I don't know, like 2 or 3 maybe, but I'm really just waiting for Sasuke.
That is terrible.
Don't love it, but it's like cool. So Orochimaru asks what face the third wants him to use, like keep the feminine, go for the more like OG masculine kind of thing. But Orochimaru sticks with they put back on their like first face
It's
because
like
it's like
really like it's like when you slide your hand down, it's a different expression.
yeah. Except
Oh
for
my
Orochimaru, it's a
gosh,
whole
yeah.
new face.
Whole
Yeah,
new face.
and they swap it down and they're like, because basically just because it'll torture Sarutobi.
Would it?
Yeah.
Nah, that chick's face is terrifying.
Yeah, but like
It doesn't
But,
hit
like,
as
it's
hard
not
as
for
the
real.
first
Yeah.
that he knows.
it's his student, you know.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I'm the one watching, alright?
Mhm.
He's experiencing. I'm watching.
Right.
What I want.
You
that
got-
matters.
You gotta
Is it?
empathize with the old man, you know.
He's crying.
He
is crying.
He is crying. You're right.
Crying in the club.
So
gosh.
the first Hokage, I don't know why they got rid of the first forest that was in the last set of episodes, but like they did, and so to
Yeah.
get a forest back, the first Hokage just makes another forest.
Do you
And,
think,
yeah.
To cut you off. Do you think there's to cut you off? I'm just to cut.
I have nothing to say. I just
Liam,
want to
shut the
interrupt.
fuck up. You've had enough. Anyway.
Alright, no follow up.
I was gonna say, do you think there's Orochimaru apologists out there? Like people are like he did
What?
nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
and
That's-
they're also
Oh,
like,
100%.
and they're definitely gonna be like Orochimaru attack deniers that are like, you know, people are like, did you remember the giant snakes? And people are like, no, that's a myth. Made up.
Oh
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
I saw a toad.
I saw a toad.
This is all a fucking conspiracy made up by Big Toad.
Big Toad.
Oh my gosh. That is
Honestly,
gross.
I think that I like that phrase, Big Toad. I think I'm
Yeah.
Big Toad.
Yeah, that's Jiraiya's new
Lizard is
catchphrase.
Big Toad.
Big Toad.
My favorite conspiracy theory.
So yeah, to survive the forest, Enma turns into like a bunch of stabs.
They said
Yeah.
Emma.
Emma's still there, just hanging out as a stick and like an eyeball, just watching every once in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, Enma's just hanging out.
Yeah, just the
No
stick with
phones
one
in
arm and an
sight,
eyeball.
Just good vibes.
Yeah, yeah, just good vibes.
Also, I'm taking a which is kind of off topic, but also kind of on topic.
Mhm.
I'm in a class called Chinese Culture and Social Life,
Mhm.
and today we were learning about the 3 teachings of like Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism.
Yeah,
And the professor was like talking about something, and I wasn't paying attention because she speaks very broken English, and it's very difficult to understand everything that's going on. And then she said, and they all worship the Monkey King.
yeah. No, this is like directly from like Chinese folklore. Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
no.
Naruto's in my
no.
class.
Oh no.
For sure, things we learned in class today.
Uh-huh.
In class, I watched George Costanza from Seinfeld
Mhm.
fuck someone on Seinfeld.
I'm really
What?
sorry.
Yeah, what class?
No,
Yeah.
I was zoning out, and then I come back awake, and then just on the projector, it was Seinfeld.
George, you can't just fuck people in Rosh's class.
Well, he was eating a pastrami sandwich.
While he was
Wow.
fucking
So
someone?
Yeah, because we
Power
were
play.
learning about Pavlov's dog thing,
Yeah.
and how like basically with like what's that expression? What do you do?
What? How was it related?
Basically, every time he like to be fair,
Uh-huh.
I was zoning out. So this is
Sure.
very loose recollection.
Yeah.
Something with the pastrami sandwich
Mhm.
made him really like horny or like think he's gonna have sex.
Oh.
That sounds like
Okay, I
Seinfeld.
remember that episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
that
then-
makes more sense than I watched George Costanza.
I
fuck
don't
somebody
know
on
Seinfeld
TV.
like that, but
Yeah.
I just woke
But
up.
you
and-
know fucking while
See,
eating
He
a
was
pastrami
fucking,
sandwich.
Bro. He was fucking and eating a sandwich. That was
Right.
At the
sick.
same time?
Yes, he
No,
like took a
honestly,
break.
impressive.
How else do you eat a pastrami sandwich?
I just
Oh,
don't.
wait,
Wild
Leo,
balls
I'm
deep.
sorry. Are you trying to tell me that you have sex?
You have
No.
sex, bro?
No. This is a virgin podcast.
Oh my
Sorry, guys, gotta leave. See you later.
Come
So
back.
many
Come.
11 and 12 year
You
olds.
haven't had sex. Sit down.
And 10, right?
Oh, you liar! Yeah.
I'm on
No.
Virginity 3000 every time I'm here now.
Yeah.
Born again.
Born
Born
again
again
virgin. Ooh.
Ooh.
Nice sync up.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. So the third Hokage is hidden inside of this like little cage made out of Enma.
Yeah.
He just grows into a cage, and then his eye appears on one of the bars, as it does, and he's like, "Yo, why are you so off your game?" And the third is like, "Oh, it's because like, you know, I'm fighting my student, and it's sad." And then we flash back again to Orochimaru's like weird little laboratory, and the third is like, "Man, I wish that I'd killed you a long time ago when I first saw your evil in your eyes." And then he remembers further back. And this is like crazy because we see him with young Orochimaru, young Jiraiya, and young a blonde girl that we've never seen before.
Oh.
What?
I didn't realize that was young Jiraiya at first. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it took me
He
a
was
minute.
pretty,
I think
right? He was a little
He was
scrappy.
cute. Yeah, as Katie would say, he had a tight. What?
Why?
Why? No. That's what Jiraiya said.
Well,
so
you're
he
the one
can't
who
say
brought it
about
up, so-
himself.
Well, I'm saying you would say it.
You would say it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we don't know who those are, but basically the third is like, man, if I had recognized Orochimaru as like evil a long time ago, this wouldn't have happened. But because those kids came up in wartime,
Yeah.
his strength, even though it was evil, was too valuable to like get rid of, which is
man,
a little
you thought
fucked.
the little snake kid wasn't gonna be evil, huh?
Yeah.
Thought the little kid who licks other people for fun.
Yeah, well,
Wasn't
I feel like
guy?
it was like having like a weapon of mass destruction, though. It's like,
Imagine
yeah, it's
being in
evil,
class
but
with
like
him now.
with Orochimaru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like some weird like meta shit with like we do have the nuke.
Yeah.
Sensei, Orochimaru licked me again.
Gotta accept.
And
it.
the third
She's
Hokage's like,
naked.
well, that's just the way it is. And
That's
Enma's
just how it is on
yeah.
this bitch of an earth.
it's true. So yeah, in the laboratory, Orochimaru's like, "Oh, would you even kill me if we fought?" And the third Hokage summons Enma, and then we like skip past their battle, kind of. But
Yeah.
the Anbu are dead. Third Hokage's on the ground, and Orochimaru's like leaving, and Enma's like, "Yo, you gotta kill this motherfucker while you have the chance." But the third Hokage can't bring himself to kill a student, and so in the past, Orochimaru escapes.
Mhm.
Back in the present, the third is like
escapes just a little generous. He kind
runs away.
of strolls away, man.
He does stroll. Well, like but the third Hokage like lets him.
You
That's the
can't
point.
undermine this confidence. He
Mhm.
knew the third Hokage wouldn't kill him.
Yeah.
True. But then in the present, the third Hokage is like, well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to kill this motherfucker for real. So Sarutobi grasps Enma, and Enma turns back. He's not a cage anymore. He's a single staff. And the third uses Shadow Clone Jutsu to create 2 clones. And the onlooking Anbu are like, oh shit, this is like bad, like, because his chakra isn't enough to make these clones, which we talked about last week. But Enma's like, oh no, he's using like some secret, like super powerful, cool move. So the third Hokage weaves a bunch of really complex hand signs, and then this massive demon comes out of like nowhere behind him.
Which looks so cool.
Yeah, and he's tethered to the original Hokage with like chakra strands, and then it like laughs maniacally, and it's got like this sword in its jaws. It's crazy. And the third looks at it, and he's like, oh, this is the Reaper. It's invisible to everyone except those that summon it, and it's just as the fourth Hokage described. Orochimaru, though, still insists... What?
Sorry, I just figured out a lot of stuff.
What'd you figure out?
Well, it's stuff that happens later in the episode or the next episode. I don't remember. I don't want to jump ahead.
It's okay.
Okay, well, they said that this is like the fourth thing, so that must have been how he died, because he sealed the Nine Tails.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, and you're right, they do mention that later, but yeah.
I didn't really put that together. Like, they put together that it sealed the Nine Tails. They said that it sealed the Nine Tails, and they said that, but I didn't connect it until just now. So I was like, whoa.
So Orochimaru can't see the thing, so they're still like, oh, no matter what you do, you're gonna fail, but the third is like, no, as long as I'm, like, standing, the village isn't gonna fall.
This bit was a little comical. Just like
yeah, they kind of go back and forth a lot, and it's like
you're gonna do it. You're gonna
the third's like, I'm gonna do it, and it's like, are you gonna do? Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. So the second Hokage casts Infinite Darkness Jutsu. Sure, but it just turns the whole rooftop dark. Basically, no one can see.
Lights off.
And Orochimaru's like, oh. You're nothing more than a trivial footnote in the history of an insignificant village. And then, like, while he's shit-talking him, the Hokage sort of beat up the third Hokage, but he can't see, so he can't defend against them. Though the third Hokage sees that the village is, like, superficially, it's just like a cluster of huts, and that, like, sure, even the Hokage monument will crumble someday, the village that he's protecting is more than that. The village that he's protecting is, like, he flashes back, he sees the first and the second while they were alive. And we see him as a baby with, like, his little teammates, right? And then, so, like, this is a section of, like, as the show does, it just, like, drops lore and doesn't explain it. But we flash through, like, like, I don't want to spoil anything, you know what I mean, like, as to whose relationship is what, but we see a lot of fucking, like, plot threads, you know? So we see, after we see the young third Hokage with the first and second and his teammates, we see Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and that blonde girl from before.
Which I'm assuming is,
okay, like, I didn't want to say that,
but
you know?
it was pretty,
But so
it's the 3 of them.
That also implies that, like, so the legendary Sannin are the 3 that got trained by the third Hokage. Like, that's... That's news.
Magic number.
Right. And then we see he remembers Orochimaru and Anko, because remember, Orochimaru trained Anko. And then we see Jiraiya with his, presumably, team that he trained, and one of them is the fourth Hokage, which is also, that's news to us again. Did you pick up on that?
I didn't put that together, no.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if I should say it, but, like, it was pretty clearly him as, like, as a kid, right? And then so we see the fourth Hokage as an adult with his team, and he trained Kakashi, which is news to us. That's fucking crazy.
Kakashi is so dope, but also so fucking cocky.
Yeah. Well, we see Hokage's Kakashi's teammates. There's, like, a girl with, like, purple tape on her cheeks, it looks like, and this other kid with goggles on. And, like, we don't know who those characters are, but, like, they were Kakashi's teammates. Like, that's crazy that we're just sort of getting that. Yeah. And the third continues. He pictures Naruto as a baby and Iruka as a kid, and he sees them growing up and protecting each other. And he sees Team 7 and Neji and Hinata, and he sees
so
he sees fucking all the teams. He sees Guy's team. He sees Kurenai's team. And he sees Konohamaru. And even though all of those people don't share a blood connection, like, just some of them, like Konohamaru, they're all precious to him. Like, every person in the village is his family.
Yeah.
Still, Orochimaru is certain that the Hokage will fall, and he refuses to believe that, like, even if he does die, it's not the end of the village, because he represents all that came before him and all that will come after. And not even Orochimaru is strong enough to destroy that legacy. nor is he strong enough to counter the jutsu that Sarutobi plans to unleash. A jutsu that not even Orochimaru has heard of before, the Reaper Death Seal. And that's the end of 72.
Ooh.
73, Orochimaru finds it hard to believe that the third knows a jutsu he's never heard of. Like, his whole MO is to know all jutsu. So, like, yeah. Orochimaru and his two Hokage puppets, they put the pressure on the third, beating him back in the darkness, and then the Invisible Reaper raises his arm and wraps it in sort of like prayer beads, and then from the beads, these weird like ceiling signs stretch down
So fucking cool.
the Reaper's arm. Oh my god, yeah.
Badass.
And then like a chakra outline of the third Hokage's body,
Insane.
yeah,
So
gets
cool.
lifted in front of the Reaper's chest by his hair,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, it's fucking badass. And then
good.
when the Reaper does it, the third Hokage coughs up blood. Again, coughing up blood. It's just like the thing to do, I guess.
Shit.
Yeah, but even though it looks like it hurts, the third Hokage is still pleased because this is the thing. This is his jutsu. All that he has to do now is catch the Hokage and Orochimaru. Running forward through the darkness, the third catches someone, but then he's immediately stabbed in the back with kunai. And this is the one time that the rule does not apply, that if you get hit, you're a log. Because he really does get stabbed by 3 kunai, and he's like, no, I just can't let go.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a shadow clone, which usually disappear after they get hit.
That's how powerful.
Oh,
it is.
Yeah, straight up. Like, he's like really focusing on this shit. So yeah, he's stabbed with kunai, but he still refuses to let
You
go.
know what like must suck right now?
Uh-huh.
Those 3 Anbu guys.
Who are just watching.
Yeah, they were watching.
And it's
I
dark
remember
now.
that.
Yeah, now they can't
Oh,
look at
yeah.
it.
So now they're just like,
They're like,
free
I
shows
wonder what's
gone.
happening.
Yeah,
We
The-
should worry, right?
at this point, they've just like lit a cigarette and they're like, "This is
What are
fun."
you talking about?
There's like there. I don't know if you saw it. It only cut like once in these episodes, but there's like 3 guys outside of the fight, and they're just sort of like watching.
Commentating.
Yeah,
Just like announcers out of like a wrestling
yeah.
event.
They're wearing
Oh
like
my gosh.
animal masks and sort of doing a little persona thing.
But
It's
now they're like being shut out of the show.
I know it's sad. It's exclusionary, frankly. Poor Anbu.
Poor-
Um,
Poor Anbu.
So the Hokage, out of his stomach comes this big ol' arm. It's the Reaper's arm. And it, like, over by the original Third Hokage, the Reaper reaches into the, like, chakra outline of the Third Hokage.
Yeah.
And then out of the clone comes the Reaper's arm. And it,
Yeah.
like,
So
stabs
fucking
into the first
awesome.
Hokage. Yeah,
Really
it's
cool.
sick. And then we cut around the battlefield as the darkness dissipates because we see that the other clone of the third Hokage has done the same thing with the second Hokage. So the only people left are the original third and
So
Orochimaru.
here's what happened with me. I first thought he missed
Mhm.
because they were in the darkness. I thought
Oh,
he
yeah.
was going for Orochimaru, but he got the first.
Right,
so
right.
In the darkness span, he saw the first.
You thought it was, like, bad.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be like, oh, he fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that's
He's just
all
hitting
right.
all 3 of them with
That
it.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
So the Reaper's arm, like, pulls out the souls of the first and second Hokage, and they, like, ask for forgiveness as they turn back into dust.
Doesn't the first Hokage sound like Obama?
He does, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I thought I was freaking out.
No.
he does.
Yeah, and then the fucking dust and, like, earth and shit that makes them the Hokage fades
Yeah.
away, and we see who the sacrifices were. It was fucking Zaku, the kid with the Jesus holes, and Keen, the girl from the sound team.
Oh,
Oh.
fuck.
Yeah. Did you guys see that?
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, that's where
Wow.
those guys went. Like, Dosu got murdered by Gaara, and fucking Zaku and
Yeah.
Keen were used as sacrifices to bring these motherfuckers back.
Wow.
That's dark.
Isn't that wild?
Orochimaru, what the
That's
fuck
so
is wrong
fucked.
with you?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that the third Hokage sees this, and then he flashes back to the first Hokage teaching him, like, yo, everyone in the village is a part of you, your job is to protect them all, and that's when he starts crying.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yo, Orochimaru, you made this village, these motherfuckers trusted you, and you sacrificed them to bring
gosh.
people back.
Wow.
Sorry, I forgot that they were from his village.
Yeah, the sound
Wow.
village he made. Yeah, and so you think about, like, fucking Orochimaru's whole MO, sort of, other than learning all the jutsu, was that he wanted to be Hokage back in the day.
Yeah.
And, like, this is the image of, like, he is a village leader, and he's just fucking using people and, like,
Yeah.
murdering them.
Oh, that's
That's
awful.
fucked.
Yeah,
That's
right?
Dark.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Like, the sound ninja team, they trusted him, like, so much. Like, that was the whole fight with
Yeah,
them
like,
versus
Dosu
Sakura.
still went to do his thing.
Yeah.
Even after he was
And
like.
this is how Orochimaru repays them.
Ugh.
Fucking
Oh.
murder.
An ass.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. And so the third is like, yo, fuck you.
Great villain though.
Oh, Orochimaru? Badass.
Fantastic.
Yeah. his clones disappear, and the third is like ready to fight Orochimaru. He calls Enma forth, and he wields the staff, and then we get like a little bit of Orochimaru calls over the Kusanagi blade. Yeah, they're clang-clanging a little bit, and eventually the third Hokage manages to knock the sword aside. And he seizes on the opportunity, stabs his staff towards Orochimaru, and then out of the staff, Enma's arm comes out again, as he likes to do, just to have his body parts come out of it. And Orochimaru counters with striking Shadow Snake, which we've seen before. Yeah. It's just a bunch of snakes come out, and
it's a bunch of snakes.
It's a bunch of snakes jutsu.
I just imagined like a can of like.
Yes, it's actually not a jutsu. Orochimaru just keeps like one of those like fucking peanut brittle cans.
Yeah.
That like open up. Yeah.
And then
but it's with the living snakes.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
That'd be a fun jutsu.
I want an episode where it's the snakes, where they're just like, okay, it's kind of cramped.
It's them in Orochimaru's arm.
Yeah, I just like my neck hurts.
If Orochimaru had to be anyone, man, he's like the Joker. He's like, he would do that shit.
We live in a society.
You guys.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, you just take the peanut brittle can, take like a little flour, replace it with like ninja acid.
Yeah. You can smell this flour, and you smell it, and then a snake pops out. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, the horde of snakes wraps around Enma, so it like stops the staff. But the third Hokage lets go, runs up on Orochimaru, and grabs him. And then he calls the Reaper's arm forth, and it plunges into Orochimaru's torso like he did with the other guys.
Third Hokage's voice actor is also really good.
Yeah.
He's like really powerful.
How could you do that? Yeah, I love it.
I'm starting to believe that all of the voice actors are just Liam.
That's the dream. Is to that'll be the project after NaruTalk when you've all gone away, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? I guess I'll just redub all Naruto.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, you continue the podcast with our voices. You do.
Well, I have to be Hinata.
Well, Naruto Abridged ended after like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So we could continue as like a spiritual successor. NaruTalk Abridged.
Yeah. Also, are you talking about how you miss Hinata?
Yeah.
Where did we last see Hinata?
Dead, bro.
No, she's not dead. We know she's not dead.
What's his face?
Forget about it.
Oh, Kabuto! Actually, she might be dead. I forgot about that. What, Kabuto?
Where did he go?
Him and Kakashi are just standing in the tuning arena right now. They're like not...
They're just kind of like, we have so much to do.
They're in like a mutual agreement of just like, let's just chill and let other shit happen right now.
And like pretend we're fighting.
Yeah. So, the Reaper's got his arm up in Orochimaru's shit.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But yeah, so the Reaper's got his arm up in Orochimaru's shit, and even Orochimaru's like, oh, this is like not good for me. And so he's
like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, so he sort of like beckons forth with his fingers.
Movements, bro. He's just like
curl. And the Kusanagi blade like floats up.
Like a lightsaber.
It's dead. It's glowing, bro. It's dead ass a lightsaber, and it like flies towards the third Hokage, and Enma on the ground transforms back into a monkey. And so like all at once, the third Hokage is trying to pull out Orochimaru's soul, and Orochimaru is pulling the sword through the air, and Enma is like, he's wrapped up in the snakes, but he's trying to stop the sword, and it's like all happening at once.
I like saw this for a second, and at first I was like, did Enma just stab him? I was like,
no. No.
And I was like, oh,
it's just like, yeah, monkeys and snakes together at last.
It's like, that's why they didn't just have Enma fight the fight instead of becoming a stick.
Because he's evil.
No. I was
like,
oh wait, no.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten that fucking Mononoke clip on YouTube.
We have a bigger reach now. You could ask again.
All right, hello, new fans. This is an old request that hasn't been fulfilled yet. Basically, in the dub of the Studio Ghibli movie,
it's coming to Netflix.
Oh,
dude, I can cut.
It's not actually coming to Netflix because it's not coming to Netflix in the U.S.
No. I think it might be. I know that the word was that it isn't, but I swear I saw a trailer.
I don't know, man.
I know. We'll know when this episode comes out.
A lot of our fans are international, so if you
That's
can help
true.
me out
Oh yeah, mad fans are international.
Princess Mononoke's dub has this one scene where they first introduce the gorillas, and they speak. They go, "Give us the human.
Give us the human.
We want the human." And I just need that scene isolated.
Yeah.
Every time I think of it, it makes me laugh.
And I need that isolated and put on YouTube. Put it unlisted. Send it to me privately. Me, whatever.
Send it in Discord or something.
Yeah.
On the Reddit.
On the Reddit. Put it on the Reddit for everyone to see. You would be a fucking legend.
Yeah, you gotta have a Reddit.
I just need that one scene.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Monkey
It's why
see.
readily available at all times to laugh.
Straight up, yeah.
If
So-
you guys want a happy host, fulfill my needs.
Yeah. Phil Rogers needs fans.
And what I need is the gorilla
I have
scene
needs.
dub of Mononoke.
Hey, he's a man, and the man has needs. And men only want one thing, and it's disgusting. It's the gorilla scene from Princess Mononoke.
That's all I want. So please,
Yeah.
someone.
So,
You know what I want to know?
What?
Please,
What
milady.
happens in the fight between Orochimaru and the Third Hokage?
well, we actually don't know at the moment because it's like all those three things are happening at once, and then we cut to those three big ass snakes that were destroying the village. And Ibiki is there with like a bunch of ninja, and he's like, "Oh shit,
I totally forgot about the snakes until all of a sudden. this
Everybody
scene-
did.
Did you forget
Yeah.
about Ibiki too?
Mm.
The guy? Do you remember who that is? He gave the written exam. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's the number one torturer.
Wait.
He's the number one
ninja.
torture
Oh,
expert.
yeah!
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he's there with like,
My brain is not working right.
it's okay. It's okay. He's
So
there.
that was a
like,
long ass
no,
time
you were
ago.
I know.
Hey, do you remember Ibiki, you stupid piece of shit?
No.
Do you
No.
want another name to forget?
Have you seen Naruto at all? Danny, where's your present?
So yeah, we see Ibiki, and he's got a bunch of like leaf ninja with him, but they're struggling to fight the three giant snakes and also like a bunch of sand and sound ninja that are with them as well.
Yeah.
And just as all hope seems lost, like we were saying before, I don't remember why this came up before now, but a giant ass frog just appears out of nowhere.
Bring
Down the house jutsu, and it
that's not real.
it
That's not real.
fucking
Funny.
crushes one of the
What is
snakes.
bring down that you crushed them?
And we got another coughing up blood thing, cause the snake gets crushed, and then we like see it just throw up its guts. Like,
I
Oh,
guess
yeah,
you know
that
we're all
happens
inclusive.
a lot in
Everyone-
these episodes.
yeah, and on top of the frog, of course, it's Jiraiya.
Bring down
Of
that
course.
house.
Yeah.
shoots.
Bring
He's-
down the house.
He's dancing around, and he's like, "Yo, Ibiki, you've gotten so big. What have they been feeding you, you little bitch?"
That was funny.
You
Last
were a bitch.
time I saw you, were like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah. And then he instructs all of the Leaf Ninja that were like, they were just thinking that all hope was lost. He's like, "I got this shit. I know all about snakes and shit."
Snakes and shit.
But like even though he's boasting though, he sees the snakes, and I think especially now that we know that like the Sannin were trained by the Third Hokage, which means
Yeah.
Jiraiya was trained by the Third Hokage.
Yeah.
He sees the snakes and he's like, "Oh shit, this means Orochimaru." And fucking remember Ebisu when Jiraiya first showed up, he was like, "Yo, we need you to fight
Yeah.
Orochimaru." And so now he's like seeing the shit and he's like, "Oh, like this is it. Orochimaru's causing a war up in this shit."
Well, yeah, because when that was right after Sasuke was like, "Why isn't Kakashi?" Or no, Naruto was like, "Why isn't Kakashi training me?" Because Kakashi was training Sasuke.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it was that weird guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah.
the weird guy was like, "Peace," and then
Jiraiya, you
was
do
like,
it.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, too many nosebleeds, right?
Too many nosebleeds.
Too many nosebleeds.
Not enough time.
Yes, that's a common problem.
Too
many nosebleeds, not enough time. But yeah, so Ibiki hops on top of the frog and he's like, "Yo, the Hokage is above the tuning exams fighting Orochimaru, and all Jiraiya can do is be like, rip, I hope that you're safe." So-
Hope you're good,
Yeah.
King.
Bless up. Yeah, thoughts and prayers. So we cut back to that and we see all of those three things, what happened ultimately. The Enma managed to grab the sword out of the air, but not before it like fully impaled the Third Hokage. It's like totally through him. Like you said, it almost looks like Enma stabbed him because
Yeah.
Emma managed to grab Emma grabbed the blade, but it's like through the Third Hokage. So the third, oh my god, coughs up blood. This
Wow.
did
Yeah,
not
so
register with me while I was watching, but like everyone's coughing up
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
And Orochimaru's like, "Yo, why didn't you dodge?" But the Hokage is like, "No, I'm gonna die. When you do the Reaper Death Seal, it means that you die to seal away the soul of your enemy." That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what a fucking sacrifice. And then, like you were saying, Orochimaru's like, "Oh, that's why the fourth Hokage died, because he
Yeah.
used this technique to seal the Nine
Oh,
Tails
did he
away."
say that and I really just didn't pick
He
up on
did
it?
say it. But I like that you came to that on your own. Like, that's an awesome synthesis. Like, I dig, like, reader comprehension and shit. Like, that's sick. But yeah.
Such an asshole.
No, but while Orochimaru's like realizing this, Sarutobi's tugging at Orochimaru's soul, and it's like almost halfway removed, and she reveals that Orochimaru isn't actually gonna die. Rather, his soul is gonna be forever locked in the Reaper's stomach, like damned to eternal torment. So, it's pretty fire.
Yeah.
Almost to demonstrate this, the little chakra outline of the Third Hokage transforms into 4 screaming ghosts. I guess I
relate.
It was kind of like a ghost with like 2 necks and like 2 heads on each neck.
Yeah.
It was
Because he
very
was
odd.
demonstrating how two. So, like the Third Hokage was saying, Orochimaru, 2 people's hatred will like keep them in combat forever.
Oh, was
So-
2 heads on each neck?
Oh shit! I did not pick up on that, bro.
Yeah, and he
That makes
feeds
sense.
on them. It's his whole thing.
Right. And so then we see those 2 pairs, and the Reaper chops them off and then eats them. Like, and it's really like drooly and like wet sounding.
Like,
Yeah, not.
But spirits would taste.
I don't like the
Yeah.
word drooly.
Wait.
Drooly.
So it's like locking his soul into his stomach,
Yeah.
right? Why did the Ninetales soul end up in Naruto and not the Reaper?
Well, maybe there's more to what happened,
No.
or maybe like you can divert it into something,
Or maybe Naruto is the Reaper.
Or maybe
Yeah.
Naruto is the god of death. No, I think that we just like don't know the whole story. You know what I mean? But like,
Okay,
I would say based on just what we know now, that I would imagine that maybe you can like divert the seal. You know what I mean? Like use the Reaper and he can take the soul out and just sort of pop it in a baby.
He's like,
I don't know.
Jesus had the 3 wise
Pop it
men.
in a
Naruto
baby.
had the Reaper.
Why would you want to do that? What's the benefit?
Well, we
of
know
popping
that
it in a baby?
the fourth wanted like.
I would take a fox spirit in my stomach.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm
Is-
wearing fox socks right now.
Didn't they say at some point that like the fourth wanted Naruto to like use the fox the chakra to like that's why the seal was built to sort of combine with his chakra?
I don't know. I think he just like lazy. He's like, I got a kid. I'm gonna die, I guess.
Yeah.
I might as well. Like, I'm not gonna be a deal. I mean, I'm not gonna deal with Fallout.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's a baby here. I'll just throw this fox into it. Orochimaru is finally able to see the Reaper, right? And so he's terrified, but
That was cool.
he refuses to just go quietly into that endless night. And so he beckons the Kusanagi blade further into the Hokage, and as the blade goes deeper, the Reaper's grip gets looser, and Orochimaru's soul comes closer to returning to his body. Then we cut to beneath the Hokage monument, and we see all of the school kids being led through subterranean bunkers, and Konohamaru consoles his worried classmates. He's like, because the whole structure is rumbling from the external conflicts, and he's like, no, man, just like my grandfather, this shit is gonna stand tall and protect us. Yeah, it's sad. Back in the forest, so we're back with Kankura, and he senses someone approaching, and he's like, and then we see it's Sasuke, and he's like, shit. It's Sasuke.
Shit.
Yeah, Sasuke throws some shuriken, but Kankuro runs away, and then he's like, oh man, I hope that, like, my sister is okay, because, like, Sasuke could have murdered her. Sasuke stops in front of him and, like, stops him in his tracks, but then Temari just instantly catches up with them, which is a little weird, because she got blown up, but, like...
She, like, rode her fan.
That's why she was so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes... Yeah. And Kankuro's, like, thankful that she's safe, but... He's also like, why? I wonder why Sasuke didn't like kill you. Then we cut to Pakun, and he smells that Sasuke and the Sand siblings have stopped, and he's like a little. And he and Sakura and Naruto are all worried for their teammate, but Pakun is more worried because there's a new scent, something that isn't human, that's closing in on Sasuke and the Sand siblings' location. Yeah. So we cut back to them, obviously. What?
At the end of the episode, we find out who that is, right?
Yeah.
Or is it... Okay.
A mystery scent that isn't
I wasn't
human.
sure if there was something new.
Yeah. No, it's
Or something that we're still expecting.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So we cut back to them, and Temari is like, "You guys go. I'll hold Sasuke off." But like, no, she won't, because she tried that and it didn't work. And so Kankura, but also Kankura's like, "Well, also like I care about you and you're my sister." So he's like, "Yeah, you go with Gaara, and I'll hold him off." So Temari goes off with Gaara, and Kankuro takes the crow off his back, and he's prepared to fight. But the fight is stopped before it can begin because this mystery non-human force shows up, and it's Shino. Now,
Which is weird saying completely non-human, because it is Shino,
He's
just
a
not
bug
human.
yeah, he's got bugs in his bones. He's like mostly
He's
bugs.
That's
like, you know,
crazy.
The guy
60%
from
water.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah, he's the motherfucking boogeyman up in this shit. He's Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Mr.
Oh my
Oogie.
gosh, that's so.
And I'm the boogeyman.
You're
Yeah,
cut off.
that was a fun
I know how
one.
much you love that song. We need to stop here right now.
Yeah. Fucking love that movie.
Me too.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good. And yeah, so we have another bug boy up in this shit. And yeah, so he basically, we saw him run after in last week's episode. We saw him like eavesdropping and then disappear.
Yeah, like a creep.
Yeah, and we didn't. Well,
Someone made of bugs.
yeah, like someone made of bugs, sure. And he shows up, and he planted a female beetle on Sasuke, which is how he's been able to follow even without Pakun's scent.
Yeah.
Because the female beetles give off the scent of a female beetle, and the male beetles follow them.
So has he just been following the beetles around? Like the beetle's been leading, and he's just like watching.
Well,
the
no.
floor?
He is the beetle, and they kind of like guide
So
him.
they just kind of
'Cause
like
the whole thing, he was,
walk
like-
towards one side of his
was just-
body, and he's like, okay, go that way.
Yeah, like
He was just really dramatic
or like a
about
little
his
beetle
beetle.
floats
Like
in
a
front of him and like
compass?
leads him
He was
around,
just like,
like a little GPS.
Or maybe he just
flies. They can fly.
can beetles
Grab
fly,
up.
Yeah.
Katie?
I was thinking he had to like
Katie,
take baby
Katie,
steps, like following the beetle
Katie.
on the
No,
floor.
no, no.
I was like, what?
Katie, can beetles fly?
Yeah, stink
Yeah.
bugs can fly,
Yeah.
bro.
They're not beetles.
I actually
Beetles
don't know
can
if the
fly.
beetles are not.
Beetles
So
can't fly.
Yes, they can.
I think
Really?
beetles
Yeah,
can
they
fly, bro.
definitely
Yeah,
can.
yeah. The bugs
They
we've
can't.
seen them fly.
We
Yeah, they
have not.
can.
Yes,
They
we
don't
literally-
Yes, we-
Google
They
it.
just don't. Beetles don't fly.
Raj is a beetle denier.
Beetles don't fucking fly.
Beetles lift their elytra out of the way in order to fly.
Beetles
Well-
definitely fly.
Raj didn't know that Elytra could move. In his defense,
Whoa.
he knew about Elytra, but he didn't move
It
it.
says
Like, they
a
could
few
lift and move
beetles
out of
have
the way.
no wings and cannot fly, but I think in general beetles fly.
A few.
Look,
So that means a few shut up.
whether whether the beetle was in Shino's ear whispering where he should go, or flying in front of him, or whatever, he followed
Baby
beetles
steps.
to get to Gaara and the other guys. And Shino is like, yo, Sasuke, you go follow Gaara and finish your finals match because, like, I don't know if you guys, like, remembered right away, but Kankuro dropped out of the finals, but he was supposed to fight Shino. So, like,
Yeah.
Just everything
Shino
about
just
this
didn't
is
get the
so
fight.
weird.
yeah, but, like, Shino's getting his final match now in the forest.
But just like the way he says it is like, I still have unfinished
Well, because
business.
Shino just talks weird. Yeah.
But he's just so weird.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, this
They
is
had
my...
like weird trash talk that just like was
Yeah, it didn't-
very odd.
Well, because this is kind of the most we've ever heard Shino talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he seems very bitter that he didn't get to fight in the
Yeah,
finals.
no,
Like,
he
I think he had his
definitely-
heart set on being a Chunin. And now he's like, he never got to do anything in the finals, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Because shit went down before. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shino is like, yeah, I'll check up on you after I beat Kankuro, and Sasuke runs off to catch up with Gaara and Temari. The chase is back on. Still, Kankuro, like, he cackles, and he's sure that Shino is going to face something worse than his greatest nightmares. But, like, Shino's like, he's got bugs in his bones.
But
He's
also-
not scared of puppets.
Yeah, he like, but he says that it's like not him and that it's Gaara.
Right, yeah.
He's like you're gonna get the worst thing that you've like ever seen, and he's like trash talking, and then he's like, but like first you gotta get through me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm confident that he will beat him.
But
Like,
it-
he thinks he's
but
gonna
it-
lose.
it-
He sounds like while he's trash talking.
True, but it does, like, at first it seems like Kankuro's talking about himself.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is gonna be worse
And
than
it's
ever.
like,
But then he's like, but
Yeah.
no, it's actually Gaara.
I'd like to
Yeah.
call attention to what you wrote in the outline.
Uh-huh.
But like, this motherfucker is made of beetles. He isn't scared of no puppet ass bitch.
It's, I mean, it's true. He's got bugs in his bones. No two ways about
Butt
it.
to the bone.
But yeah, so Kankuro is actually talking about Gaara, but if Shino is to know anything about Gaara and how nightmarish he is, he still has to get through Kankuro, and the two stare each other down and prepare to fight. And that's the end. Episode 73 and all of the episodes that we watched this week.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's that. How we feeling?
Okay. So,
Uh-huh.
the first episode.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
A little lame. A little nothing.
Yeah.
A little lot. A lot of. I think this episode is just a sacrifice for a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Context building.
Especially with, like, the third and Orochimaru and
The
shit.
second one, the Reaper's cool as fuck.
The Reaper is cool as
But
fuck.
can the Reaper carry that whole episode? No.
Yeah.
Does Shino inclusion in the episode make it any better? Not at all.
Yeah.
These two thumbs down.
Yeah.
These
You know,
episodes.
Lizard, though, you were talking about the voice actors.
Yes.
The guy who plays Kankuro, which is the dude with the big mummy shit on his back, his voice actor actually passed away, right after we met him on the podcast, and that guy's really good. Like Michael Lindsay, I was like, man, it sucks that this guy passed away. Like that's sad.
Well, I mean, like not all of them are bad, obviously, but like I feel like in some context, like. I feel like they all have like different. There's like different tropes that like a lot of the actors buy into. Voicing the characters.
Most definitely. What did you two think about the apps?
I feel like there was definitely a lot I didn't pick up on because I'm just like totally not.
No, but like you came to the conclusions like very naturally.
Yeah, I had fun with these episodes. I think that like. I don't know. Like it was a lot of big plots all happening at once, but like. I don't know. I was able to follow fine-ish, and what I didn't follow, I figured out while we were talking about it. So that's
fair enough. Good. Yeah, and that's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were fine. I just really liked the part with Jiraiya and the toad and the snakes.
Bring down the house.
It was really fun and funny.
Also, I loved the big Tsunade drop that like was just like very casual.
The big one that was like so little we didn't even notice it.
Yeah. But I also like that you guys naturally assumed that was Tsunade.
Yeah.
So that was sick. Lizard, jumping in, like, talk a little bit about that, like, what did you think, and then also do your plugs, and...
I thought that jumping in without watching any of, like, the previous episodes was very confusing. I think there's a lot of, especially with any anime, I feel like there's a lot of world building that goes into it. It did seem interesting, though, so I'll be sure to check out all the previous episodes if I can.
That's such a commitment.
It really is, and I don't even have time to
basically
shit my pants anymore.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I have to say about it. Thank you guys for letting me come on your podcast.
Of course. Where can people hear more of you if they?
You can follow. Yes, you can follow my Instagram, which is Oscar Wilde's Wig, spelled like Oscar Wilde, the playwright / poet / author.
Sure.
You can also find me under that handle on Twitter. You can also, if you follow the Instagram, it is called Fuckley with 3 U's, so that's FUUUCKLEY. That is the Instagram account for my drag persona. I am a drag performer, so if you want to check that out, I'm always posting about like upcoming gigs I'm doing in the New York area. So,
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Of course.
And we're going to say bye to Lizard, and then we are going to get into some reader responses. First up, our Ganin tier patron shout out this week is to Peyton Myers. Woo! Our new thing is like giving them like a village and a jutsu or something. So like let's do that.
Peyton,
sure.
Peyton makes me think football.
I think there's a needle in my eye.
Itching out of here.
So what would be like a football? You think Earth? It's earthly
mud. Like how the Third Hokage is always vomiting mud.
That's
so.
Village?
Is there a village in the mud?
Village.
There's like a rock village.
Rock
So
village.
you're from Rock Village.
Rock Mud Village.
Yeah. You're from Rock Village, and your power is throwing up mud.
What an awful power.
Throwing up mud.
That's like half the Third Hokage's thing. He throws up mud, then turns it into shit. A dragon, a wall.
Well, you didn't say they could turn it into shit. You said you just throw up mud.
All right. Well, you're a powerful mud ninja from Mudtown.
From Mud Village.
Mudtown.
Yes, and we love you.
Is
Thank you
that
for your
next
support.
to Urinetown?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have stories about Urinetown, but I'm sure they'll come up later in the podcast.
I suppose doing Urinetown right now.
I have a residency in a theater in the city, and I'm working with the guy who wrote Urinetown.
Oh,
What is
cool.
Urinetown?
It's like a comedy musical.
You guys just
About
keep saying
pee.
Urinetown.
Yeah,
it's about
like,
pee.
what is?
Yeah. It's actually mad funny. Anyways, other patrons that we have at our tuning tier, of course, we have Dave Mata.
Legend.
Ooh.
Where is he? He's not in the Discord anymore. He's not talking.
Take care of his kid.
Oh yeah.
I think he's being a dad.
Yeah. Come be my dad. Come back, Dave Mata.
Just for everybody listening, Liam just did grabby hands.
Yeah, come back, Dave.
He wants to be
Dave,
Davey,
come back.
Dave.
Come pick me up. I need picky ups.
Oh my god.
Nina Kelly, been there, an OG, and an incredible person, frankly,
the best.
from the ground up.
It's true.
Pro Hendrix, who is also a legend. I should ask them in the Discord because they watch One Piece, and One Piece is getting a live-action Netflix adaptation, so I'm sure they have some thoughts on that because it's gonna be terrible. And Jay, who is incredible.
Jay,
She's always active in the
wonderful,
Discord. Very cool.
person.
And of course, our Jonin tier, and also like a little bit of a reader response. We have, I was told to pronounce it Janie J, which is one of our Jonin. They, and this is curious because with Lizard we were talking about Twitter a lot, and Raj, obviously, you know, you love Twitter, love your Twitter. And Janie DM'd me on Instagram, like my account, not the NaruTalk account. And she was like, oh, you know, I followed Morgan and Katie and you, and I didn't follow Raj because he's private. And so I thought that we could talk a little bit about, like, how do you guys feel about, like, fans following private accounts and, like, you know, like, your Twitters? Because I know that, Raj, you were, like, literally what I said to Janie was, yeah, Raj complains about people commenting on his stuff, but I know he loves it.
Okay, look, so first with the commenting, I do love it.
Yeah.
I love all the comments. But sometimes it like freaks me out when people kind of know so much about me and I don't know them.
Yeah.
Kind of like talk to me in a certain way as if I should be okay. I don't know. It's just like a whole mental thing. But I love all the comments. I would love more comments. I would love for people to interact with me more. My Instagram being private, that's just more of like a thing Instagram people do. I just don't make mine.
I mean, like, and like,
all in private.
or like just like hop on his Twitter, like.
Yeah.
Please,
How do you?
I use Twitter more than Instagram.
Yeah.
Please follow me there.
And like, how do you two feel about fans like reaching out and following your?
I
your
think
personals?
it's awesome because
Yeah.
I know, like, when I was like younger and I was like a fan of something that was kind of smaller and not like huge, really blown up yet.
Yes.
I like loved if like I got like a like on one of my pictures or someone followed me back, or I could follow someone and it felt like they're a real tangible person.
Yeah.
And also, like, for me, I only am on Instagram. Like, I have a Twitter, but like I don't have the Twitter app on my phone. Like, I don't go on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I will spiral. I have spiraled many a night on Twitter.
Very fair. I'm spiraling on Twitter. I'm just getting into it, and I'm like,
I cannot do it anymore. That's why I'm on Instagram. But like, I want everybody listening right now, go follow me. Like,
I agree. Yeah, and
too.
we are the only accounts that any NaruTalk socials follow. So like, if you want to, like, I say follow us.
Oh, that's how they find it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's great. I'm public, like I don't care who follows me, but like also, how are they finding
like,
us?
That's
That's my question. But that makes sense.
When I first started getting follows from like fans, I wouldn't be able to tell if they were just like a random person who stumbled over my account or like a bot or something. So it would be like
That's
white
true.
person from this place, and I'm like, why would I let you see my stuff?
Yeah.
And then eventually, once I put it, then I realized, oh, that person's name is their username, and they've been commenting, like, oh, you're a NaruTalk fan.
Right.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. It's a weird adjustment. Like, you know, like, we're Z tier personalities, but like, it's still like, oh, there are people that like listen and like want to know.
Which is so
about us.
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that. Like,
the Reddit has been getting a lot more poppin' lately. We have like 3 posts now.
Yeah. And I came across one naturally, and it blew my fucking mind.
We have like 11 members right now.
Hell yeah.
So more.
I just want to let me finish shouting out our patrons. The other Jonin are Nick Astor.
Woo! The best.
Yes, I fucking love him so much. And Stephen Bricky, who is insanely active in the Discord, I believe.
Dude.
Fantastic. It's sort of hard to like, because everybody's using like, you know, internet names and shit, but like
yellow names.
Yeah.
I like losing the sea of yellow.
True. But the point is, they're all amazing. So let us know what you think of us. Reach out what you think of fan culture. I don't know. I don't give a shit. The point is, you can like contact us, narutalkpod@gmail.com. Like Raj said, are you talking about how my message notification just went up? Yeah, I know.
yeah.
But like Raj said, our Reddit is r/NaruTalk. So like post up in that shit.
Come there. Any questions, anything, we'll respond.
Yeah. Facebook. We read shit out on the podcast. It's been a little wonky these past couple weeks because we've been like doing shit, but like usually we read stuff out. YouTube NaruTalk Pod, Instagram, Twitter @NaruTalkPod, hashtags NaruTalkPod, whatever. Our website narutalk.wordpress.com, and of course our Patreon www.patreon.com/NaruTalkPod. That's of course like the most important. That's how we keep the podcast running. There's tiers. You can get into the Discord, the bonus episodes, you know, and any amount of money helps. Rio Radio 6 is going to be Naruto abridged, so you'll probably want to hear that. That's fun.
I'm so excited for that one.
Links for all that stuff is in the description below, and if you send shit in, we'll sometimes read it out, like I said. For example, Morgan, it seems like you have a facial expression. Was that related to a reader response?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it's an email
Uh-huh.
from Zach Moore.
Sure.
And apparently there were two, and it says that both of them were sent at exactly 10:58 p.m. on Christmas Eve.
Yes, that's true. Isn't that
I
weird?
love that.
I adore it.
Do you want me to read both?
Of course.
Okay. The first one says, I'm 13, which I believe was the subject.
Yes, yes.
I'm 13 and my name's Zach and I'm an edgelord like Sasuke and I love the podcast. I hope you get this for
Yep, it's for IW and then sent from my iPad. But then simultaneously...
And then the second one says, I'm 13.
But this subject line doesn't have an exclamation point, though.
Oh, so
This
I'm
one-
13.
Right. The first one was, I'm 13! And this one is, I'm 13.
Hello.
Nothing more introduced.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm 13. My name's Zach, and I love the podcast. Also, I think it's bullshit that now you have to be 21 to buy tobacco because I wanted to be cool like Shikamaru.
No!
JK, love the podcast from.
That's so funny.
From...
Oh, God, our influence.
I blame you for that experience.
He's 13 years old!
Guys.
You still have 5 years, bud!
Yeah.
Listen, that's a lot.
So, 13-year-olds, please don't smoke.
18-year-olds don't smoke. 21-year-olds.
Everyone don't smoke.
Yeah, gosh.
Or you will get bad head rush and die. For anything.
Well,
Maybe.
Even
don't
essential
tell them
oils.
that.
Yeah. But like, be careful
It
about
happened.
drugs.
You
Be
did.
careful.
Be careful of drugs.
Yeah.
That's.
But I love that you're listening, Zach Moore, and I love that you sent 2 emails simultaneously. That's crazy.
Pretty magical. Do you think he has
You
2
are
different
wonderful.
iPads?
Yes, I think that he
Typing
well,
both?
one was from his iPad and the other one didn't say that. So he was typing one email on his phone and the other one on his iPad, and he
yeah.
sent them both exactly the same time. And he was like, "Well, I won't say who this one is from because the other one like fills it." And
Yeah.
They're complimentary emails.
Yeah.
And on Christmas Eve, that's crazy,
That's
right?
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10:58. It was right before he went to bed to wait for Santa.
Yeah, we were his
Cute.
Santa. Hello.
Aw.
Good Christmas morning. Katie, do you have your heart set on a reader response?
No.
Okay, because I think that Raj wants to announce like a little thing,
Okay.
and we're running a little long. I don't know how long this is going to be in the edit, but like, you know what I mean. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing reader response though, Zach
Yeah,
Moore.
that was incredible.
NaruTalkPod@gmail.com. I love getting emails. It's a lot of fun. But yes, please like, subscribe, rate, whatever you do wherever you are. You can leave a 5-star review right in the podcast app. If you do so, even if it's negative, we'll read it out. Here's a 5-star review that it's not too long. It's just like a fun little thing from Meshcat. This one's crazy. They titled it Kakashi Ninja Dog, and the comment was, "I love any podcast that talks about Naruto," with like 6 exclamation points. So like,
I love that.
love that you love us. I don't know if I would say any podcast that talks about Naruto. As we know, there's 2 competition podcasts and they suck.
You can love
So
us a
like,
little more.
maybe just like I
lot
love
more.
this podcast that
Yeah.
talk about Naruto, but like either way, I love the 5 stars. Like I'll take it. Like I love you. Like you're great. But yeah, so leave a 5-star review, please, if you can. Tell your friends. Best way to get them. Big thanks to our graphics team, Glenn Federico and Ali Caruso. Before we say what episodes we're watching next week, Raj, do you want to talk about your thing?
Okay. So,
Yes.
hello, Raj here, special announcement. Boom, 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 air horn. Basically, I've come into possession of a Naruto Shippuden t-shirt in a size small. What would it be? Girl small? No, boys small. The
Small.
shirt's a size S, right?
Size.
And
Yes. Orochimaru would love it.
I'm
Yes.
a thick lad. I'm like a large XL, so I can't wear it. But one of you lucky people out there are
Yes.
what? So it's gonna be a giveaway. So
Yeah.
so it's a giveaway for
Fun.
a size small Naruto Shippuden shirt.
Yes.
We'll like sign it. I'll send you like a
that'd be
personal
Yes.
note.
Yeah, all
that
4 of
I'm,
us are
like,
gonna sign
really
it.
fucking high or something.
Yeah.
I'll give you. I'll do stuff. The way to enter the giveaway, what you have to do, obviously like, favorite, subscribe, share, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Leave. Here's the most important thing on like Twitter or
At
Reddit,
NaruTalkPod.
at you or Instagram at NaruTalkPod.
Yep.
Write down your favorite joke that me Raj has said on the podcast.
Uh-huh.
He Raj.
He Raj.
He me Raj.
Yes. King
And-
Raj.
we're gonna take all your submissions, start in a randomizer,
Mhm.
and I guess do it live. We'll announce the winner.
Yeah,
live.
well, let's do like a YouTube video or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then after that, we'll contact you, have
Yeah.
your DMs open and stuff.
And for those of you who are at the $25 tier and are like, oh, they're giving away a T-shirt before they send out the merch that they promised. Merch is coming out in February, and we're sending it out to all you 25. If like you're at the $25 tier and you can't continue pledging, you're still getting the merch.
Yeah, don't worry.
Um,
But this is a small giveaway for a small shirt that I can't wear. So.
Yes. And frankly, it'll probably be sent out around the same time that the merch is.
Yes,
So like,
yeah. Please
do that. We'll talk about it more next week. This episode is a little all over the place because the guest thing was like an experiment. But yeah, big ups to Lizard. Obviously, that was awesome of them to come on. Next Monday, we're going to be talking about episodes 74, 75, and 76. Let us know what you think of those bad boys if you watch ahead. Thank you, as always, so much for listening.
The best people in the world.
And I guess all that's left to say is to remind you to be safe, have fun, believe it.